We're going to come in second, but they pick up the cheeky little extra point. Oh, 7-star citizens, and welcome back to the System 7 race number 6. And it's actually race number 6 this time.
Yeah.
I am here joined by Red Monster. How you doing, Red?
I'm great. It's always a pleasure to be here. And yes, we've caught up with the numbers now after the reshuffle on the schedule. We are officially on race 6, and this is going to be an exciting one. This brings us into Pyro once again. This is Bermuda Bay on Pyro 4. Now, this race, we won't have as much of the temperature issues that we saw on Clio during those previous races that Clio Valley Pass. We saw a couple of folks expiring from frostbite conditions. Pyro 4, a lot more moderate temperatures, but it is still a dangerous track. So,
yeah, nice tropical environment here today. Before we get into that, though, let's talk a little bit about the last few races. A couple of weeks back, we did 2 sets of races. I want to talk about the second race that we did first, which was our heat-based race with the mules. A lot of fun and some pretty insane results from that.
Yeah, the Cloud Chasers platform really delivered. You saw some really great highlights there. We were seeing players, racers getting launched over the side. There's those little lampposts and light fixtures along that cement track. They were playing havoc on our folks. So, yeah, we saw some really great results. And really, Team Punch Nomies looks like they're taking ahead. We had Team Amarok's Fang securing a lot of points as well, with a couple of really great finishes. But I mean, we saw a lot of folks not finish, taking their dive down into the depths of Crusaders' deep atmosphere. So.
Yeah, exactly. And if you were here during the course of those 2 races, you may have noticed that we were talking a lot about there was a lot of issues during race number 1. We had a couple of bugs with a tractor beam causing, some people's cars not to work properly. So we had a backup plan. We did a time trial throughout the last 2 weeks, and we got some different results for our competitors there. And so we had 11 teams submit some times, and if we go to the leaderboard, I think you'll find that they affected it pretty drastically. We had Team Punch Nomies get the first in the time trials as well, which has now shotgunned them all the way to 101 points. Our first team to get past 100 points this year. Followed very closely behind, though, by Amarok's Fang, a difference of only 10 points between our first and second team. Yeah, speak on it.
Yeah, Punch Nomies delivering really well on the ground vehicles. They were kind of an early favorite going into our races 2 weeks ago. And yeah, of course, in the interest of fairness, that tractor beam bug affecting those Grey Cat STVs a little bit unequally for those racers. So going to the time trial, providing that opportunity to get on an even footing, that's got Punch Nomies up there. Obviously, our first team to break the triple-digit mark, and they've got to be feeling really good with 2 races left. There's not many opportunities for folks to get into that top 3 position with them. Amarok's Fang, not too far behind at 91 points. Delta Diatus, Catcom, and Blackhawks all above that 50-point threshold. So some great opportunities there. And of course, our follow-up team, those in the middle of the pack trying to go for maybe a top 3, top 5 position. We got Venture Origins, Kuroda Racing, Test Squadron, Sire. A lot of these folks are out there hungry today. And of course, next week in 7 days, coming back in for race number 7.
Yeah, the big story here I want to point out is for the last few years, Punch Nomies, Amarok's Fang, and Blackhawks have been kind of our unstoppable top 3 teams. As you can see, Blackhawks having a couple of issues this season, and Delta Diatus and Catcom have pushed ahead of them at a pretty healthy total too. Now, Blackhawks are still on 53 points. They are still in a great spot to come back and push back into the top 3. But I am really, really excited to see Delta Diatus and Catcom give them a run for their money. You can expect over the course of these 2 races, any top 5 finish by either Delta Diatus or Catcom is going to be very, very solid for them. But there's still some potential for some other stuff to happen. If you go pretty much all out here, you've got 51 points that you can grab over the course of the next 2 races. So you could see Venture Origins or Coretta Racing very, very possibly slot into like 4th, 5th place over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And with the change of the point structure this year, top 5 by the end of the season is where it is very, very impressive. It's not just about the top 3. It is definitely about the top 5. So we'll see what happens over the course of today and next week. But yeah, like I said, very excited to see Delta Didus and Catcom give some of our expert teams a run for their money.
Yeah, and these teams have been absolutely delivering. We saw Amarok's Fang with the sweep last week during broadcast. Of course, race 1 going to the time trials. Amarok's Fang coming in just behind Punch Nomis. We're talking 2 minutes, 46.1 seconds for Punch Nomis, 2 minutes, 47.8 for Amarok's Fang.
Yeah.
That is razor thin, right?
Yes.
So they've got to be feeling good coming into this, but I guarantee, like Blackhawks, they're hungry for it. But these other teams, they're still competitive. You can not just spot in the top 5, but right now, that's what's up for grabs. So today we're going to have the bonus point again for the fastest lap, since we are going to our race here. This is the Bermuda Bay on Pyro 4. This is going to be 2 laps on the Aopoa Nox with a 224 meter per second top speed. I think we're going to see some impressive speeds here, and it's a combination. We're going to have some island portions and then some lake portions. So as I see, we have the starting line going into checkpoint 1. That'll be overland from checkpoint 1 out to checkpoint 2. That is completely over water, and then from checkpoint 2 to 3, they've got to maintain on that land, kind of that island strip. We're going to see a lot of straightaways, a lot of really fast speeds, but these overland portions are going to be really difficult. There is not a height limitation on this, and we might see some vehicles get launched, and we'll see how they're able to recover from the altitude. But I don't see a whole lot of hazards happening here outside of that land portion, right? Aside from other racers potentially.
Yeah. To first speak on the speeds really are, like, this is going to be essentially the fastest in terms of max speed race that we've ever really had in the System 7 history. On the water portions, there's almost no reason that any racer shouldn't be going max speed for the most part. So much so that during the sort of like pre-meeting that we do with all the staff, our cameras were told they need to be in racing ships in order to keep up with some of our races here, which is very, very cool. Very excited for that. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this. Now, those land portions that you're talking about, yeah, it feels like the whole race itself should be a lot safer, but those land portions are deadly. Very, very, very deadly. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see those Noxes come all the way down, max ride height, minimum speed during the land portions. Just make sure you survive. Yeah. System 7 history has taught us that bike races, with the minor exception of like our small figure 8 races that we occasionally do, are incredibly dangerous. So yeah, that's what we're going to see most likely, I think. But we're all going to get to see it together as we get into the race.
Yeah, and of course, as you mentioned, this is our fastest vehicle out there. Atmosphere on Pyro 4 is a little bit thin, but yeah, we're going to see the racing, the video folks getting our perspectives, cameras in game. They're going to be struggling to keep up, I think, and we'll have to see how the racers balance out the water portion, which should be relatively unobstructed, versus those overland sections. And like you said, using that elevation, your ride height, gaining speed when you're low, moving up high to avoid some of that terrain.
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun one to watch. Worth noting as well, the Nox is much less survivable in general than some of our other bikes. So you will notice when you're using something like a Dragonfly, you've essentially got, like, I like to call it 4 lifelines, which is the 4 extra parts that the Dragonfly has, where you can like kind of hit the ground sometimes. You'd be a bit lucky. The Nox does not have that advantage. If you hit the ground hard, you are gone skis 100% of the time. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, especially the transitions from water to land.
Doesn't have much buffer space. So we talked about that. Checkpoint 1, a little bit of land, then we go to the water portion. Checkpoints 2 and 3, splitting up that, and then checkpoint 4 and 5 as well, getting that final segment. There is an opportunity here to do a bike swap between laps. The racing crews will have support teams at the finish line, so they need to get all the way through the first run. If a vehicle takes damage there, they could do a bike swap, but that is going to cost them time. And I feel like the teams that have to rely on that are probably going to end up in bottom half of the pack. And it could be a pretty dangerous situation over land portions. So we'll see who's able to survive that and eke by. But as you mentioned, Dragonfly's got a lot of buffer zones. The Nox is pretty bare bones.
Yeah. Now, importantly, we are back in Pyro again for this, which is very, very exciting. It's been great to have some races in Pyro this year. We'll be back in Pyro again for the finale as well. Let's talk a little bit. How's the game been for you recently, Red? Obviously, we have got Invictus. Invictus traditionally not the most stable of times to play the game. How has it felt recently?
Honestly, for me, the game has felt really smooth. We haven't had really many server errors, and for an Invictus and a free fly event, it's been really buttery. I don't think we've seen performance like this over the last year or more. So at least in my personal experience, last Sunday having 46 people out on an operation and relatively easy issues. Last night, my crew, we ran the full Hathor laser platform start to finish. So
nice.
Really successful operation there. The game's feeling like it's running really smoothly. And honestly, like kudos to CIG, Invictus launch week and a free fly. That's a lot of challenges to put up with. So, and
yeah, definitely.
I just have to, the real elephant in the sky here. What are you thinking about the Idris?
I want to find a way to race Idrises. I don't know how we'll do it, but there's got to be a way, I'm sure. What a fun vehicle to use. Adding in the laser weapon has been so cool and so enjoyable to get out. And when I say that, I mean making sure that someone in my org has one out for me at all times. I would highly recommend becoming a content creator just so you can bully people into getting ships out you need.
Yeah, and I will say that laser beam, I just have one complaint, and it's that I don't have a charge window to break those rocks with,
Yep.
But
yep.
It looks impressive. It feels impressive. I was able to fly one again. One of my org members, we've got a handful of those available, and we put it through its paces, and loving the carrier type operations that it brings out. So.
Yep, it's been very, very, very cool to check out. Speaking of new and upcoming things, Atmo have some cool and upcoming things as well. We mentioned in our last few broadcasts, Gravity Rush, a new ship racing event being held by Atmo Esports. It's happening very, very soon. Signups are available right now until when, Red?
Right now until June 14th for the signups. Time trials are open until June 16th. So, yeah. Get your entries started, get your time trials in, and work on coming up for the next series as this event progresses. We cut to the video for that one.
So, yeah, make sure you guys sign up for that one right now. GravityRush.gg. I'm very excited. It's going to be one that I'm going to finally sit home and watch this time around. Should be a good time.
Yeah.
And of course, if you ever want to find out anything about any Atmo related events, anything you want to get into, maybe you want to get into the staff portion, that sort of stuff. If you are here on Twitch, there should be a link. Hopefully, with one of our mods, we'll post right now, and we'll get all those links to you. We've got our Discord that you can hop in and try out. It's always good fun.
Excellent. And of course, Gravity Rush, organized by Atmo Esports and Laser, the Litho Aerospace Racing team, and some sweet prizes on the line for those top 3 competing teams.
Yep. All right. So it looks like we've got a little bit of extra time as we get our races on board. So let's have a look at the race that we're going to be seeing in 1 week's time, our finale race, which I'm very, very excited for, but also very concerned about. Here we have Volcano Lake. Unfortunately, not a real volcano. Come on, CRG. What are you doing? Volcano Lake over on Pyro V Pharaoh Moon. We're going to be doing our... This is our finale race. Traditionally, we would use the Lorville Loop with our 4 different vehicles. We use 2 vehicles this time. We're going to be using the Lynx and the Tumbril Cyclone. And we've got a cool little special section. We've got a Polaris Bridge in between 2 islands, which, from the sounds of it, rather deadly.
Yeah, this is a combination of fast banks and scattered small lakes that these racers are going to have to navigate between. There is one portion there that is impassable, but that's where the Polaris comes in. And you've got the ramps on both sides, but yeah, that adds a little bit of risk as racers try and navigate between those vehicles and successfully transition from one side of that platform to the other. So again, this is going to be a pretty long race. The RSI Lynx with 36 meters a second, and the Tumble Cyclone with 37 meters per second. But with the overland portions, I think it's going to be a really interesting race. And, lap times, we're going to expect about an hour and a half. So a lot of survival, a lot of things happening there. This is, of course, hosted on Pharaoh, one of the Pyro 5 moons. So yeah, that's actually I really appreciate that little mini system the Pyro 5 brings in.
Yeah, it's very cool. Also, lots of opportunity for a bunch of different places for us to do races. So tons and tons of extra racetracks for us. I will say, I am very disappointed that we did not get the new Grey Cat buggy, the MTV. I always forget what it's called in the game soon enough because, oh boy, this race would be a lot of fun with that vehicle. And I'm sure we'll see.
We don't quite know. We don't quite know the top speeds on that one yet, do we? Or has that been...
It is very... So in terms of speed, it's very comparable to the Lynx, but with a fair amount of better maneuverability. To the point that one of the designers actually tweeted out, and they expect it to be one of the meta vehicles for next year's Daymar Rally. And apparently that was like part of the intention of the vehicle is to make another vehicle that works really well with the Daymar Rally, which is very cool. It's nice to be thought of. It's nice for CRG to be thinking of that when they're making vehicles. So hopefully we get to see some of that next year. But this year we've got the Lynx and the Cyclone, which I do think are 2 great vehicles. Would have loved to see maybe a transition into some bikes again, but with the way the bikes have been going this season, maybe a bit too deadly. So we'll be here with this one in Volcano Lake in a week's time.
And that is, you talk about the developers designing ships specifically to perform well in events like the Daymar Rally. That's one of the benefits of an early access feedback system where the developers are seeing the game played, what the community is driving. So we've got some views in here of the starting position on our Bermuda Bay race getting set up here. And a lot of Star Lancers out there. Have you been able to ship meet? Have you had a chance to fly the Star Lancer? And maybe you've got some thoughts on it?
The Starlance attack? No, not yet. Unfortunately, I don't know anyone in here that lives in Australia. Sydney got so bombarded with raining in the last few days that half of our power went out. So I was only able to get on today. Didn't get a chance to get the Starlance attack. So that's my job for tomorrow. Get a bunch of opportunities with it. Have you been able to mess around with it?
Well, me, I have a love-hate relationship with MISC ships, and it's that I really love to hate them. I haven't had an opportunity. I've walked inside a Starlance attack by accident, and while it didn't eject me immediately, I've really been embracing the Anvil Asgard. I was really impressed with that one last couple of times I've been able to take it out. So But yeah, Starlance Attack brings its own features. I am sure there are people out there who are upset by my distrust of Misk, but hey, that's yeah, that's an opinion
Yeah.
I hold. You can have your own.
Speaking of the Anvil Asgard, there's a few right there. New Anvil Asgard, which, at least for the terms of the racing community, definitely going to make it a lot easier for us to move around our bigger ground vehicles for doing some of these races, right? Traditionally, anytime we've had, like if you want to run like a couple of Cyclones, you would usually fit like maybe one in a Valkyrie or whatnot. So most of the time, you're getting like a Hercules or something comparable.
Yeah.
So having something a little bit smaller that can fit a couple more ground vehicles is quite nice. I do have to say, I still love my Valkyrie. I can't get over it. I just love all the extra guns that it has on the side and stuff. But I love that back wing. The like heightened wing that you get on
the mid wings right there.
Yeah,
I will say the complaints I've heard, and I think they're valid, is your missile turret up on top, as well as those wings that are up higher than the profile. It's got that raised profile a little bit that makes those easier to shoot off. I wonder how that's going to affect long-term durability and survivability of the ship. But I will say, as a fellow lover of the Valkyrie, I'm finding a real sweet spot with the Asgard, and I don't know if you've had a chance to get in and fly it around, do some combat, but 6 Panthers on that thing, it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, very very lovely from the front. Oh, for sure. In a bit more racing adjacent as well, we also got the Guardian MX this week, which I'm a big Mariah fan. I mean, they put me in one of their ads. I am legally obligated to fly all of their ships. But I'm loving it. It's fast. I love the dashboard changes that they've made. It's very very cool. I'm kind of actually like, I often don't ask for a racing variants, but I kind of do just want a Guardian racing variant at this point.
A racing variant for the Guardian.
Give me the Guardian LX. Give me a Guardian that's even sleeker. You remove all the weapons, and it just goes vroom. You know, there's a bunch of the really really small racing vehicles. So like you've got the Fury, you've got the Razor, you got like the M50, you've got the P72, right? They're all similar-ish size. They have a lot of differences between them, but they are all similar size. In terms of like larger, you have the Peregrine, which is awesome. Love the Peregrine. And the 350R, right? There's not as much in that realm. Now the Guardian might be a little bit too big, even for that. To be fair, it is quite a large ship, but I would love to see another racing version of that. And look at this view.
I was gonna say this is Pyro IV in all of its beauty. We've got our overhead camera tracking the racetrack here. It looks like we are just right at sunrise. We got the sun or the star cresting over that horizon by the starting line. Checkpoints 2 and 3 off to the left. Checkpoints 4 and 5 up to the top. So yeah, I think we're gonna have a nice full day of racing. The official time on Pyro 4, it's a day length of about 4 hours 1 minute with a 30-minute or so lap. We're expecting about an hour today. We'll have plenty of daylight time. So yeah, this is going to be exciting. A lot of fantastic views that we should expect to see here, and that looks wonderful. So
yep.
Now,
it looks very very dope.
Now let's go into some of our racer profiles who we can expect to see out on the track today. So from Premier Corps Colonial, crowd favorites out there. I see their 1cc cheers popping up in chat. We have Amur, who will be racing for us today. We've got Premier Corps Colonial Captain Aodin, Engarif, and Luche, all representing from France. Most mouse and keyboard, and then we have one gamepad flyer here. But Premier Corps, we expect to see. That's going to be Amur today, who we've seen in Race 3 as well as Race 5 already. So good to see them come back.
Yeah, traditionally Amur, at least over the course of the last few seasons and whatnot, Amur has been sort of the primary racer of this team. But it has been nice to see Engarif and Luce pop up for a couple of races this season. Have we seen Aoden this season at all? I would have to double check.
As far as Premier Core, we'll double check here. That's Aoden.
I think we've seen them maybe once. I
Not
would love to see
yet.
them again. Hopefully we get to see them again next week. But it has been obviously, once again, like we said, a big crowd favorite, and so we'll get to see exactly how they end up this time around.
Awesome.
Moving on to Drunken Turtle Racing, our team from Austria. We have Eraser, Kratigos, Pouncer, and Alex 290183. From Drunken Turtle Racing today, we will be seeing Kratigos. Kratigos is going to be running on the board for us today.
Yeah, and Kratigos has had a little bit of a rough time. In race 3, the Rift of a Deer had a DNF and finished in 11th place. Race number 5, the Reverse Snake Pit, that was 10th place with the DNF, but at least completing 75% of the course for that. So I'm sure Kratigos wants to get out and find some redemption there. Drunken Turtle in 14th place currently, with just 8 points up on the leaderboard. So hungry to get that going.
Yeah, it would certainly be lovely to finish the season with a big chunk of points from possibly a couple of wins. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next team. We have Alpine Storm, team from Switzerland and Italy, with Tich, Dan, Emios, and Axel.
Yeah, and Tich was expected to participate within Racing 6, but I believe Alpine Storm team will not be representing today. However, they currently stand at 10th place with 15 points up on the leaderboard. So,
Yep. So
interesting.
Hopefully, we still see them for the finale.
Yeah, all of them with wheel preferences there. Now, Team Amrock's Fang, we've got Dark Hour 717, Anreal, Gravity Cat, and Big Flex. We're going to be seeing Big Flex today. And we saw Big Flex in race 5, the Reverse Snake Pit. So, a good combination there. And Amrock's Fang, they're hungry for it. They're in second position here with 91 points, trying to get caught up to Team Punch Nomies at 101. So, we'll see some definite competition there between Big Flex and the Punch Nomies racer.
Yep, another team where you always see sort of some specific races for specific vehicle types. So Big Flex had an amazing performance. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before on Microtech in the Gravlev vehicles. Just absolutely crushed it, way out ahead of the competition. And hopefully looking to do that again here today. This is almost an endurance race. It certainly feels like it's going to be an endurance race in terms of how survivability is going to work. So Big Flex got some not proving to do, but prove that it wasn't a fluke, I guess, the first time around that happened. And I think they
deliver on skill.
So. Deliver on skill. That is a great one. There you go. We'll see what Amarok's Fan can get up to today. Like I said, right at the top of the leaderboard at the moment, in second place behind Punch Nomies. So they've got one team that they're trying to get ahead of, and another team trying to claw their way back into the top 3. Blackhawks, our team from Italy. We have Ludox, Spartano, Sonic, and Falcon.
Yeah, and Ludox has come in and really represented quite well for Team Blackhawks, but. Where they sit right now on the leaderboard, they're right at 5th place with 53 points. They're trying to push in. It's still doable to get into the top 3, but they're going to have to probably rely on some unforced errors, some DNFs there. We have seen Ludox in everything except the Reverse Snake Pit. So we'll be seeing them again. Obviously, some great racing chops there. But can they deliver on a 5th out of 6th race? And we'll see how they go for race 7 as well.
Yep. They're part of the big story. This sort of towards the end of this, of can they once again, push themselves back into the top 3 and get the auto qualified for next year. But like I said, I'm loving that we've got this big story, right? The top 3 teams are no longer safe. The last 2 years they've been pretty safe in the top 3. They haven't had to compete with many other teams, but now they're
and I'll tell you what, they're going to be competing today in this beautiful scenery, right? We've got from Team Catcom, we've got Endermaster, Circoworm, Balsamic, and Blue Barafina. Now, from Team Catcom, we're going to see Endermaster, who was part of that leisure loop. Now, Catcom with the time trial, they ended up in 4th place with 2 minutes 56 seconds for that, and they're also one of those teams that's hungry, sitting at 4th place right now with 64 points. Very much in reach for them if they can hold on today. Of course, Hosa set up for Endermaster, who's definitely hungry.
Yeah, like I was mentioning, we have 2 teams that traditionally haven't top 3'd in our System 7 that are fighting for it this year, that are absolutely crushing it. Catcom are one of these teams. They're in a great way in order to get themselves in there. So a solid finish today and a solid finish next week will place them in the top 3. But the team that they've got to try to beat as well, Delta Dietus Racing, Checked Leak and Space Tech for this team.
Yeah,
we have
and
disappeared.
Delta third place in the overall standings with 73 points. We're going to be seeing Check Leak today. Now, Check Leak, race 3 took first place as well, competing in race 1. Delta Dietus ending up in 6th place for that one. So.
Yeah, it's been great to see a team that isn't a team of 4 perform really well this season. So very excited to see if they can continue it for this race and the next race. They are obviously still in pretty big contention to get even 1st place as long as we get some solid finishes here. But currently sitting chill at 3rd place. So all they've got to be concerned about is Capcom behind them and Blackhawks behind them. But yeah, rounding out our top 3.
And here we have Flynn's Free Riders with Noble DeFluff and Langmax, who are, I believe they are not represented today, but still up in the leaderboard here. They're currently at 16th place with 2 points, so missing out on a couple of races there. But Noble DeFluff and Langmax getting through the qualifiers and representing here as much as possible. So.
Yeah, hopefully a team that we see in the future. I'm not 100% sure why they've more or less dropped from the league, likely just due to scheduling issues. As you can see, United States and Germany going to be pretty hard to make sure that someone's available within both of those time zones type thing. But I do hope we see them again next year. So yeah.
And that is one of the risks with these smaller teams. You don't have as many people available to fit into those schedules. So
exactly, yeah.
And speaking of small teams, we've got Kuroda Racing, Initial D with Sanji Sama, one of the only racer on their team and one of our kind of crowd favorites as well. Represented every single race this so far.
Yeah, I love Sanji Sama. At this point, I just assume Sanji Sama is always going to run this solo. Has been doing pretty well this season for the most part as a solo runner, so it's been great to see them. Hopefully they can pick up a couple more points today. Currently they are my apologies, I have lost. Where are they currently?
They're currently 7th place with 20 points on the leaderboard. And I gotta say, positioning wise, knocking up some good positions, some not so great. 4th place in race 1, 7th place in race 2, 14th place in race 3. That's the Rift of Adir with a DNF. 7th place in race 4, and then for race 5, that reverse snake pit, and 11th place with a DNF, finishing at least 75% of the run.
Yeah, so unlikely to get the top 3 this season, but can still push towards top 5, get a solid finish for the end of the season, and be pretty proud of yourself. So see what you can pull today.
Yeah.
Over to Lease Motorsports, our team from Canada. We have J Script, Captain Chaos, and D McFly.
Yeah, and we're going to have Captain Chaos here representing for today. Captain Chaos also previously raced in race number 3. So we'll be seeing that. That was a DNF with some issues there. I'm pretty sure Captain Chaos wants some redemption on today's race. So hopefully a little bit of work there. Now, Lee's Motorsports, they are sitting on 12th place with 14 points. So can secure a spot in the middle of the pack and at least represent there within that competitive group. So.
Yeah, for a couple of these teams today, it's really just going to be about trying to push into the top 8 and finish the whole season with something that you can be proud about. So see if they can pull this, as well as it wouldn't be too bad to get a win of a race. There are only 7 races in the System 7. If you can at least claim one, regardless of how you finish at the end of the season, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And moving on to Team Nexus, we've got Gimply85 and Manus Lost with Brooke Van as well. Team Nexus, I believe they are not represented today, but they are currently sitting at 13th place with 9 points. So we hope to be able to see them come back in for race 7. Again, another team fighting for the middle of the pack there.
Yeah, agreed. Hopefully we see them for race number 7, and if not, hopefully we see them next season as well. Try to impress everyone. We did see some pretty impressive skills from Manus Lost over the course of the season so far, so would love to see him again. Yeah. All right, Novak Racing, our team from Latin America. We've got Mexico and Colombia represented here. We have Uphill, Kadesh, NVK Draco, and Ismaster.
Yeah, and Kadesh is going to be representing today. We've seen them before in race 3. That was a DNF, 13th place at the Rift of a Deer. But Novak Racing currently at 15th in the leaderboards, 4 points secured up to this point. So I believe they're going to be real hungry to get on the board and push themselves at least, top 10. Get a lead on a couple of these teams here in the back.
Yep, for sure. Punch Nomies, the team. The team to beat at the moment. Currently at our top of our leaderboard with 101 points, 10 points above second place. We have Herbie, Gerbo the Gnome, Quelsar, and Shugo the Lucky One. This team feels like Ferrari, so much to the point that I don't want to root for them anymore. And I think that they should, it's rooting for Ferrari's cringe. This is an absolute all-star team. In previous years, this team actually has been multiple teams, and they've fused together to become just an absolute all-star team. And we've seen other teams adopt the same thing since then, which has been really, really cool to see. So today, we're going to see Gerbo popping into the Nox.
That is true. And Gerbo, we've seen before in race 5, the reverse snake pit, coming in with the fastest lap time there, notching an additional point here. Gerbo's got a lot of reputation here. First in the Daymar Rally 2024 truck division, and I gotta say, really taking advantage of that character creator with that wicked stash. So Gerbo the Gnome is going to be the name you don't want to see in front of you today, if you're one of those racers.
100%. Definitely the team to beat, and definitely a team that everyone's going to be scared of. So it should only be a little bit longer as we get set up, guys. We're getting very, very close. We've had some good old classic StarCitizen issues getting set up today, but I always just remember it was worse 3 System 7s ago. So I'll take it.
Yeah, and again, as we've mentioned, my experience, game performance has been pretty good. I haven't had any major issues, but there are always those little hiccups you'll find here in the early access versions here. But these are dedicated, experienced players who are able to work around those, and love seeing this starting line. Ships up on the ridge line, ships down in the checkpoints. So there is an opportunity here to perform a vehicle swap in case of like low fuel, or maybe you've got some damage there. Do you think there's
Yep.
going to be any strategies these teams employ in order to speed that up? I know they are allowed to pull a vehicle as their racer is approaching from that support crew, but logistics just to get on and off with those vehicles may cause a little bit of a headache if someone does need to do a vehicle swap.
Yeah, look, these teams, for the majority of these teams at least, have participated in events like the Daymar Rally, where you're doing like hot swaps of vehicles a lot of the time. So I imagine they've got it locked down exactly how they're going to get it through. The big thing is that I do think we will see vehicle swaps pretty much across the board. Any small amount of damage that the Nox receives is just going to like tenfold increase the chances that it blows up the next time it receives damage. It's so fragile. So we'll see as we get into it. A lot of teams are going to adopt a lot of different strategies. It's also always very different on race day. Maybe you get through the entire first lap with 0 damage if you're lucky, right? But not exactly sure how we're going to get into this until we get into the race. The one thing that is for certain, Red, is we will see some explosions today. The question is how many do you think we're going to see? I want to get your prediction now. How many survives are we getting?
Well, it looks like we got 11 teams out there. If I got an official count there, I think we're gonna have at least 8. We're far enough into the season here for the Series 7. Yeah, we're far enough into this series that I think a lot of these folks are practiced, experienced. They have gone out, ran this track to make sure they know where they're at, how the vehicle handles. These are experienced racers. I think every single one of them has appeared in at least one previous race for this series. So I expect them to do very, very well for vehicle handling. But there is always that X factor of additional racers on the track, just maybe having an off day. I think we'll have 3 explosions, 8 survivors.
Chad is crazy. He's very optimistic. I am nowhere near that number. I think we're going to see 4 races survive today. The Nox, yeah, we do have our best races out today. Sometimes that just doesn't matter. Just doesn't care. The Nox doesn't care. The ground doesn't care. You take like one tiny little bump a little bit too fast, and you're just gone. So I think we're going to see 4 races survive here. I'm hoping that the 4 races we survive are going to be, I'm even going to call it, I want to see Catcom and Delta Dietis survive and finish a race today. And then I want to see 2 of our lower teams survive today. I want to see 4 races cross the finish line and really see the leaderboard change.
Yeah, I would love to see from the middle of the pack there, Sanji Sama from Kuroda Racing, and then Test Squadron, Renee. If we can get some finishes with there, bring that up into the middle ground and make the race number 7 really turn heads as far as that top 3. Sanji representing themselves, and of course, like Test Squadron, they're out there. Their story this year just barely eking in on the qualifier rounds and turning it into currently the top half of the pack, currently at number 8. So, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, not too much longer to go now, guys. If you've just been tuning in, System 7 race number 6, our second last race of the season, is about to be underway, and we are presented by Icon City. Do you want to talk about Icon City quickly for us, Red?
Yeah, from sci-fi themes to studio-grade layouts, Icon City brings personality and power to your Stream Deck setup. I don't know if you guys have a Stream Deck at home. I use one, and the integration, both if you're streaming yourself or even if you're just trying to manage all of your keybinds and StarCitizen, which is a ridiculous amount, right? Pages and pages. You get your Stream Deck set up with those, with the Icon City icons that help really drive that design from the game onto your Stream Deck. So make sure to use the discount code ATMO at checkout and save a little bit when you order.
So here we go. We've got a shot of our starting line as our last racer lines on up. You can already see a lot of differences in ride height at the start. Now that may change as we get that 2-minute countdown as we go in. But I'm a little bit curious here. I've got to imagine on the land sections we're going to be taking it real slow.
Yeah, I think conservative is key. Those racers, we talk about delivering on skill earlier. That is really going to drive how these racers manage overall from this overland section. If they can run this conservatively, like slow is smooth, smooth is fast, get onto the straightaways over the water and really just let loose. I think that's going to be the key.
Yep.
We'll hopefully see if that turns out. But your biggest risk here is these overland sections. So we're going to see the damage happen, potentially the explosions, and of course, we saw this before. The first 30 seconds or so, the group is bunched together. You're more likely to have collisions and other type of issues that might knock you out prematurely. So they'll need to watch out for that. I think if we're going to have a lot of serious issues, it might be within the first couple of minutes of this race before they get onto the overwater portion.
Yep. I would even be a little bit concerned there. You can see a couple of our racers sitting like dangerously close to some of the flora here on Pyro IV. Look, if any planet has taught me anything about flora, it's Hurston, and they have very, very similar flora here on Pyro IV. It can be very, very dangerous. Now, we did just receive our 2-minute warning, which means we're going to be getting under the way really, really quickly. So, last one, Red, we talked about explosions. Who do you think is going to take it away this week? And I want an actual answer. No, I think everyone has a chance. Who do you think is getting it?
Honestly, my votes, if I'm going to pick some two favorites, obviously Punch Nomi's at the top. They have been dominant. I think we're going to see some really great performance from them. Beyond that, I'm favoring Neojet from Sire Racing. Just we've seen some finishes there. I hope that's going to work. We've seen Neojet in everything except Race 3, so they've got something to prove there at 9th position, and I think they're hungry for it.
Yep. Now, I've been talking about this 3rd and 4th place, Catcom and Delta Dietis. I already said I want to see them finish. I'm going to say I want Catcom to come first, but you're exactly right. The smart money, I think, is on Punch Nomis, and Amarok's Fang are going to be putting them to the test. So I'm going to say I think Punch Nomis are going to take it, but I'm really, really excited to see Catcom go for it. We're about to get our 10 seconds. I'll let you take it away once it pops up, Red.
Let's hear your favorites in chat. Who are you guys rooting for as we have 10 seconds left? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And we see Captain Chaos with the early lead. And Yodalorian passing up.
Yodalorian says, "Nah, I got it actually." Absolutely smashing it through. I did not expect anyone to start off the race that quickly. So huge lead right at the beginning for Yodalorian. And you would have noticed at the beginning there, you saw a lot of races just wait and see how everyone was leaving. So yeah, already amazing start.
It's like, who gets to exit the elevator first? Say, no, wait, no, you go first. I don't want to get pinched in there. So, Yodalorian.
Yeah, we actually just have some really polite races here at the System 7.
Yeah, there is some strategy. Obviously, one of the dangerous portions of this event, and we see the pack as they come in behind, and a little bit of fog there as a Pyro IV really gets the pack.
Yeah, but Yodalorian just way out ahead of the rest of the team here. So, I mean, I'm hoping this works out for them, but I'm very concerned at them going this fast this early.
I don't know. Getting an early lead like this is a really good strategy, obviously, because everybody wants to be on front, right? But it just drives a little bit more pressure for everybody else. It's a psychological thing, saying, well, we got to catch up, right? Those folks that are prone to that, they're hungry for it. They're going to see those names in front of them and say, I've got to push it just a little bit harder. If the Yodalorian can maintain, really putting the pressure on others behind. And we got Sanji.
Yeah. Look at the difference. Yodalorian was so far ahead. They're off the screen at the moment. Sanji Sama looks like they were in second, and then we've got a big fight here for third. We've got a big pack. So you can see Kratos, Checkleak, Endermaster, Amua. That is crazy. I will be very surprised if Yodalorian survives here, but if they do, you're exactly right. They are going to be so far ahead of the competition. They're going to hit the water first. They're going to start going full speed, I imagine, once they hit the water. Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, Sanji going up the hillside.
Don't see Yodalorian moving.
That could be a
That
stall.
is a stationary Yodalorian. Sanji-sama is going to come past. Sanji-sama is going to move into first place. I am going to predict that that's probably an explosion from Yodalorian, most likely there.
Yep, oh no. Yodalorian.
It was... So we have, multiple DNFs, but the big one I want to talk about there, obviously the one we're looking at right now, Yodalorian Venture Origins. Absolutely crushing it right off the gate. Did not work out for them. There's a real world where maybe they just slow down a little bit, right? Maybe you just bring it back down after you're in the
fourth DNF. We've had Drunken Turtles test.
Oh my god.
Corona.
It's a
just
massacre.
There. Now we're down to 8.
We've got 5
Sanji
teams
Sama.
Red, we haven't even hit the water yet.
I'm betting your prediction is going to be a lot closer here.
I think it's going to be closer, but I don't think it's going to be close, if that makes sense. Having 5 teams DNF this early is very concerning. Remember, this is a 2-lap race, guys. We've got multiple terrain, like land sections that our racers have to go through.
3.5 minutes in, almost 4 minutes. Oh no!
There goes Punch Nomies.
Turbo the Gnome also with a DNF.
And Novak Racing. There are 6 teams left on the board, and we've just now finally hit the water. Sanji Sama is on the board.
Now, Sanji Sama was marked as a DNF, but they're still going. Is that accidental? Did we have an accidental DNF there? Because
possibly.
I'm still seeing Sanji
possibly.
move.
Sanji Sama definitely still on the board.
Yeah, so we'll get a confirmation here, but yeah, we see these racers as they move on to the water portion of this checkpoints 2 and 3 in between, and you see that water displacement. Wilhelm over there, the water guy. Got to be very proud of how this looks right now.
Yeah, but absolutely crushing it. I love the reflection on the water here too. That's crazy. This is a hell of a start to the race. We knew it was going to be dangerous. I was hoping we would at least get to the second set of terrain before we had half the field off the board. So,
yeah.
Once again, we are watching Checkleak from Corona Racing. As far as we're aware, they should not have DNF'd. There may have just been an issue there, as they're very clearly racing, at least for us.
Delta Diatus, yeah. And Sanji Sama we saw ahead. Amur there, a couple of kilometers ahead off to the left. We'll need to keep an eye here. There may have been some accidental DNFs there, maybe a misclick or two, but Amur from Premier Corps Colonial, Checkleak from Delta Diatus. Not seeing a party marker here for the one we're directly following. So that is Neojet from Sire Racing. And yeah, coming up from position 9, half the pack now. We're down to 6 racers. And what are we? 6 minutes in, almost? Not quite yet.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. Can I change my earlier statement to 0 races completed? I really love, like, it looks like we got everyone on the water section at the moment, and I do really love this race for these water sections. But just, yeah, wow, the terrain just way more deadly than I was expecting it to be, and I was expecting it to be deadly.
Yeah, and we're looking at these names in there. We see Big Flex kind of in the rear right now. Big Flex from Amarok's Fang, coming in as a favorite, second position. But yeah, with Team Punch Nomi, he's getting eliminated there early. Got to feel really good about that. Right, and yeah, a little bit of ride height adjustment there.
Just looks absolutely wonderful. So Once we get past the first checkpoint, we'll get a confirmation of roughly where all of our races stand. As we have mentioned, we believe that Sanji Sama from Corona Racing is currently, if not in the lead anymore, still within the top 3 and still racing. So we're going to get a confirmation of that to make sure that's all good. And same with a couple of our other races as well. But there we go. Currently following Neojet.
There we are. And yeah, following is a loose term here. These are definitely at cruising speed, 200 plus meters per second. It sounds like all of the DNFs have been confirmed. So we saw a little bit of Sanji go in there. That may have just been a potential desync or ghost party markers. So, or it could have been that his corpse was just traveling along. Oh, Amur from Premier Corps Colonial with a DNF. That is, that was on the overwater section. And Amarok's Fang. So,
all right. And Blackhawks. We have 3 races left on the field, and we are 8 minutes into the race.
Oh, man. That is rough. So we got to call out for Angurif, but that may have been Amur from Premier Corps Colonial. So we're looking here. This is Czech League from Delta Diatis. They are 3rd position right now, but let's look at where the leaderboard's at. Delta Diatis is still on the board. Catcom is still on the board. That's positions 3 and 4. And Sire Racing Team with Neojet also on the board. So we're, that top 5 is going to look very different at the end of this race. And Sire Racing Team, Neojet's going to be very excited about his placement here, going from 17th. Or from 17 points, at least getting another 15, putting him up to 32. That'd be enough for top 5, or just outside, depending on overall positioning here. So,
well, remember, so we do have a rule about finishing 75% of the race to get positions, and there may, I imagine, our TOs are going to be having a look at this race post this, but. Yeah, I don't know what's actually going to happen to the leaderboard here, but I did say Delta Diatis and Catcom were 2 of the teams that I wanted to see get some good positions. So is this like the opposite version of the commentator's curse, where I've said something that isn't a curse, but I've accidentally cursed the rest of the field?
That very well could be it, and I think you should apologize to everyone involved today for the. I was just as guilty. We see Neojet here from Sire, Delta Diatis, also repping, and Catcom. So Entermaster, Neojet, and Czech League are who we are keeping an eye out on here. And we should have good eyes on each of these racers. We see Neojet coming up for the for checkpoint 2, beginning second position here, second portion on the overland. They've got to go to the left of these C2s that are marking our checkpoints. So, watching how that goes.
Now, mid-race prediction for you, Red. Will we hit the other water?
I think we will. I think we will.
Okay.
I've got optimism.
I think we will too. I'm just hoping that it's more than one racer that gets there.
Yeah. So we've got Czech League, Neojet, Endermaster. We're going to see them. We've got Endermaster right here, already well on their way through the overland section. And crashing through the terrain. So what is it that's making this so difficult? We thought that the overwater portion would be safe, but potentially bottoming out and causing some saturation issues there.
Yeah, possibly. We'd have to talk to the racers specifically about how they DNF'd, but we did obviously have a few that occurred over the water. It could be any number of reasons. Could be desync, could be the water physics, just not 100% sure. Obviously, the land sections have been more deadly than the water and have been a bit more of a concern. So that'll be probably a post-race debrief that we'll likely get over the course of the next week from a couple of our races. But it did seem like coming into it, this was not a race that some of our teams were excited for. From what I've been hearing, they've been doing a lot of practicing more for race number 7 and getting that underway, as that's one that I think they are going to at least survive a lot longer.
Yeah, and of course, being the fastest ground vehicle that's being featured in this System 7, obviously a lot more danger involved there. Positional desync could be a much bigger issue, but leaving us with just 3 teams getting through checkpoint 1. So we see racers pretty evenly spaced out. That looks like Check Leaked ahead, Endermaster in the middle there, and Neojet coming in behind. So about a third of the way through the overland portion between checkpoints 2 and 3, and ready to open that up a little. We'll have to see how they do on the rest of the segment.
Yep, and so far this land portion being a lot more forgiving to them than the last one seemed to be. Now, here's the thing, Red. When you get into these situations, because we've had these situations before where there's only a couple of races left, we do often see all the races just bring it completely all the way down, like as slow as they can possibly go for the entirety of the rest of the race. Because if you just survive right now, you top 3. Right? If you just survive. So that's like what sort of that's going to be what's going on in their mind at the moment.
Okay. And yeah, there is some discussion behind the scenes here. There may be some issues that might necessitate a potential restart here. So we're gonna get some idea of what's going on there. Now, less than the 10% of the race completed, while 20% of racers are remaining. They could throw this back to the starting line, let racers reset. But as you mentioned, the folks that are still out on the field, they're top 3. The difference here is 25, 18, or 15 points. They're going to be more conservative. They want to lock these points in. It's a 10-point difference if you're able to get through and just survive. And yeah, we'll have some further clarification on if this is continuing as it is. But so far, Check Leak in the front, Endermaster coming in behind, and Neojet. You see this terrain. This is just wonderful, right? Pyro IV delivering the cinematic views.
Wonderful to look at, terrible to race on.
Yeah. And of course, Kilozetta Gaming with the great maneuvering there, narrowly escaping the terrain themselves.
Yeah. Now, I do have to say, if we do in fact see a red flag and there is some type of restart, the big problem with that is if there is a restart today on these same servers, we're going to have the exact same problem. And I don't think it's going to solve any issues today, unfortunately. So we'll see what the TOs decide. But yeah.
Oh,
there we go. Neojet with an explosion. That is another team down.
Neojet getting third place there potentially for another 32 points. So the red flag has been called. They're going to restart to give everyone one more chance, as it was a random desync that killed all of them. So this will be coming back. We're going to take a couple of minutes to get the racers reset at the starting line. And Check Leak and Endermaster surviving there, obviously. Want to continue, secure that win, but obviously, in fairness to the rest of the racing field, and really to have it to have a little bit more competitiveness as they go through this race. About 30 minutes for the entire lap, and not even getting past checkpoint 3. We got checkpoint 1 from the starting line. Less than half of the teams made it to the first checkpoint. And 2, maybe 2, getting as far as almost up to checkpoint 3 out of 6. So we'll see if that clears up.
Yeah, which hopefully it does. So I'll tell you what, guys, we'll go on a bit of a break as we figure all this out, and we get some information for you guys, and we see how this rerun is going to happen. Hopefully a much better spot here, but it looks like you're not. You're still stuck with me and Red for a little bit longer, guys. So don't go too far. We're going to be back pretty soon, letting you guys know everything.
Some race for glory. Some race for the thrill. But when your world goes from 0 to 100, we race to save lives. Quantum Jump Medical. Celebrating 8 years of service to the community, still completely free of charge. Offering medical rescue, emergency transportation, operational support, security, and much more. No BS, no gimmicks. We'll be there. Some race for glory. Some race for the thrill. But when your world goes from 0 to 100, we race to save lives. Quantum Jump Medical. Celebrating 8 years of service to the community, still completely free of charge. Offering medical rescue, emergency transportation, operational support, security, and much more. No BS, no gimmicks. We'll be there. Some race for glory. Some race for the thrill. But when your world goes from 0 to 100, we race to save lives. Quantum Jump Medical. Celebrating 8 years of service to the community, still completely free of charge. Offering medical rescue, emergency transportation, operational support, security, and much more. No BS, no gimmicks. We'll be there. Some race for glory. Some race for the thrill. But when your world goes from 0 to 100, we race to save lives. Quantum Jump Medical. Celebrating 8 years of service to the community, still completely free of charge. Offering medical rescue, emergency transportation, operational support, security, and much more. No BS, no gimmicks. We'll be there. Some race for glory. Some race for the thrill. But when your world goes from 0 to 100, we race to save lives. Quantum Jump Medical. Celebrating 8 years of service to the community, still completely free of charge. Offering medical rescue, emergency transportation, operational support, security, and much more. No BS, no gimmicks. We'll be there. Some race for glory. Some race for the thrill. But when your world goes from 0 to 100, we race to save lives. Quantum Jump Medical. Celebrating 8 years of service to the community, still completely free of charge. Offering medical rescue, emergency transportation, operational support, security, and much more. No BS, no gimmicks. We'll be there. Some race for glory. Some race for the thrill. But when your world goes from 0 to 100, we race to save lives. Quantum Jump Medical. Celebrating 8 years of service to the community, still completely free of charge. Offering medical rescue, emergency transportation, operational support, security, and much more. No BS, no gimmicks. We'll be there. Some race for glory. Some race for the thrill. But when your world goes from 0 to 100, we race to save lives. Quantum Jump Medical. Celebrating 8 years of service to the community, still completely free of charge. Offering medical rescue, emergency transportation, operational support, security, and much more. No BS, no gimmicks. We'll be there. Some race for glory. Some race for the thrill. But when your world goes from 0 to 100, we race to save lives. Quantum Jump Medical. Celebrating 8 years of service to the community, still completely free of charge. Offering medical rescue, emergency transportation, operational support, security, and much more. No BS, no gimmicks. We'll be there. Some race for glory. Some race for the thrill. But when your world goes from 0 to 100, we race to save lives. Quantum Jump Medical. Celebrating 8 years of service to the community, still completely free of charge. Offering medical rescue, emergency transportation, operational support, security, and much more. No BS, no gimmicks. We'll be there.
We're going to be doing, once again, some heat races. We're going to have our competitors perform in heats of 4. The objective is to get first or second. If you get second, you head up to the runner-up finals. If you get first, you head all the way to the finals, and we are doing it at Cloud Chasers.
little bit of a bump there. We've got J-Script out in front, Circo Worm behind. Luce, the vehicles are handling very, very cleanly right now.
Luce. Oh, that is not a place you want to bounce.
Oh.
Or with Luce right there. Luce slowed down a ton. Then that's gonna make it.
Luce is upside down right now.
Heat number 1 is going to be Circle Worm from Capcom with a fastest lap of 3 minutes and 5 seconds. J-Script at least Motorsports also come across the finish line to lock in second place. So they are going to be heading on to the runner-up finals. Capcom onto the finals. So here we go. Very different to the race that we saw just before. All of our races almost right on top of each other on a huge collision. It's Lunox.
Right there.
That collision almost ended up with Lunox off the side. That would have been huge.
And Sanji Sama's got a good contention for 9th or 10th place. We saw...
Oh, I don't think that was desync. I don't think that's desync.
That was... And we have Amarok's Fang. Fastest lap with 3 minutes, 2 seconds.
Yeah, well done, Amarok's Fang. What I will say is I don't think we're going to see the kind of collision we saw in last race. And we're about to see these guys compete.
One right on his tail. And oh my goodness.
God.
The Yodelorian coming in behind and giving them both. Yeah, what a clincher there. Neojet looking right over the side. And
no!
Neojet unable to recover. Neojet for Sire Racing. Early elimination.
So Punch Nomis are going to take this heat. They're going to move on to the finals.
3, 2, 1, go.
And we're off an immediate collision. And yeah, there we go. Now they're jumping off. But no, that's
there
Space Tech.
Space Tech.
No, that's Space Tech. Ooh,
and a collision right off the bat.
Into a tree, it looked like as well. Maybe just like barely touched it with the wheel that they can go around.
And as we're into this final lap, these racers have got to hope some unforced errors out there.
And Anrul's going to take this one. It looks like Red Monster. I think we're going to see our first place finish and our winner of race number 5 for the System 7, securing themselves 25 cheeky little leader points. There we go. Well
there
done.
We go.
Amarok's Fang. And yeah, fastest lap was
3 minutes,
first lap,
8 minutes. 3 minutes, 0.8 seconds there. Circo Worm, we're going to see get an official count there. They are looking good as well. Now, Amarok's Fang coming into today, a little bit behind, but with a first place finish on race 1, Leisure Loop. Ooh, 259.3.
That is going to give them the fastest lap of the day. So they may come in second, but they pick up the cheeky little extra point.
And welcome back to race 6 of the System 7. We are just about to resume action here after the initial race got red flagged. Only 2 racers surviving after about 10 minutes in. So, apologize for that delay. What we've done, the entire racing crew, support staff, and party members assisting with this race. We've done a server relaunch, hoping on a new shard. We might have a little bit better luck. And some great views out here of the Pyro 5 system. So what have been the standout moments for you so far, Croncy, that you are looking forward to seeing as we get restarted from this red flag attempt on race 6?
Standard moments from today's race. Hopefully less explosions. Obviously, just lots and lots of problems in that first attempt of the race. We may have cursed ourselves, and I said that 4 people would finish the race. We did get to 4 people getting to the first checkpoint. So that's something. So yeah, we're gonna need every single person watching to put their entire faith in everyone participating so that we can have a good race here, because we are jamming it.
Yeah. Grab your good luck charms, and anything you've got, your superstitions, touch wood, maybe get your favorite little magic totem there, and we'll cross our fingers for these racers. We did just have quite a bit of effort and a great coordination on the teams in the background here to get things restarted. But as we said, only 2 racers surviving. So a couple of folks called it out in chat. This is a very dangerous race. We've got the fastest vehicle here that they're being going to be operating with the Aopoa Nox, going 22 or 224 meters per second. And this track is proving very, very challenging.
Yeah, we had essentially, I would say, 2 major issues, right? That our competitors had to watch out for. One was obviously the terrain on the island sections. When you're using a graveler vehicle, very, very rough. And then in addition, you can get really, really messed up by desync here, which is what we saw the first time. So if we can hopefully, like we said, we are on a different shard. So we're going to see much less desync. And then it's just going to come down to hopefully a lot of strategy in terms of where you're going through the terrain. One thing I would love to see is we did see Yodalorian in the first attempt just absolutely yeet themselves at the start of the track. So
real great.
I'm hoping we see that again. Yeah.
The real great early launch for the Yodalorian, but again, we watched that almost immediately, a couple of minutes in, crashing there, and they just kept falling, right, one after one. Racers succumbing to the terrain, and it's something that a good practiced racer is still going to struggle with, and that's what we saw, and part of the reason why they called the red flag. So.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully we get a good race here. That's certainly what I'm looking for. I've already said if there are going to be any bugs that happen in this one, if we could get everyone to have the indestructible vehicle bug, that'd be fantastic.
Yes.
And then we'll get a good race going.
Yeah. And of course, some appreciation for our camera operators delivering beautiful views here of the Pyro 5. Now, Pyro 5 system has this gas cloud around it. It's a gas giant, as well as having 6 natural moons, and then Pyro 4 here that we were actually racing on today. So we started off this race. The initial attempt was right at sunrise. Now we're a couple hours on. We're coming into the nighttime side. So we're going to be seeing these headlights from these vehicles, and hopefully our camera operators delivering the best views they can with the darker environment. So.
Weirdly enough, this should actually make it a lot easier for us to see our competitors. Earlier, we were kind of just completely relying on names. Now that we can actually see them, because obviously these vehicles are very small, they're very, very tiny, hard to see from our cameras most of the time.
Yeah, and we use this precision targeting mode provides the player names as they are out there racing. And we've got some great racing moments ahead of us, I still believe. Now, coming up in a week from now, we're going to be moving into race number 7. That's going to be Volcano Lake on Pharaoh, one of the other Pyro 5 moons, using a combination of both the RSI Lynx and the Tumbril Cyclone. But there's one feature of that track that you're pretty much excited about beyond anything else you've seen. And let's talk about that.
Excited and concerned. So we have around that map we have essentially it's just a hop around the water, but you've got a couple of these islands off to the left side there, and we've got a little Polaris bridge. It's essentially the only place that you can get across the islands, if that makes sense. Now I am optimistic but concerned about when our racers get to this section that things are going to go our way. You have to consider a couple of things. One, if we do have multiple races coming onto the Polaris at the same time, it is going to be very awkward. Now, we have an incredibly good group of very polite racers, so hopefully it'll be okay. But it's one to look out for. Now, we're going to head back to the race because our 2-minute countdown did just get started. Please, everyone, send all of the good vibes. Will this last for more than 10 minutes? That's what I'm really, really hoping for.
Fingers crossed. We just spent a lot of time in the background getting the reset, hoping to have a little bit more of a fair opportunity for everybody here. A little bit of a rough start on that. Now, this track today, it is the Bermuda Bay here on Pyro 4. We start off here at the finish line on that right-hand side. moving on to checkpoint 1, and then having an over water portion between checkpoint 1 checkpoint 2. Checkpoint 2 to checkpoint 3 is all over land. Again, alternating back and forth on these islands with the difficult terrain, and then straightaways, getting to see the best of that water physics as they move between checkpoints.
Yeah, so it's going to be a big one. Like we said, the terrain on the islands is the most dangerous, but we had a lot of desync explosions over the water as well. So once we get to the water, keep a lookout for what names you see, and hopefully they make it across. As far as I'm aware, this is going to be our last attempt for today. So that's why I'm saying all the good vibes, guys, all the good vibes as we get into the 30 seconds left before we pull in. And let us know your predictions. Who do you think was going to take this one down?
Yeah, and let us know in chat right now, which team are you rooting for? We've got Amarok's, Fang, Punch Nomis, quite a few. We're about to hit that 10-second.
And in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
All right.
And yeah, Yodelorian once again yeeting out ahead. No cares in the world. I'm loving that. I'm loving the dedication. Even after what happened in the first attempt of the race, still flooring it. Let's go.
Yeah, and we have Gerbo the Gnome from Punch Nomis, Big Flex from Amarok's Fang, Check Leak from Delta Diatus, Captain Chaos from Lee's Motorsports, Neojet from Sire Racing Team, Ludox from Blackhawks, Endermaster from Catcom, Sanji Sama from Kuroda Racing, Amur from Premier Corps Colonial, the Yodelorian we saw there from Venture Origins, Kadesh from Novak Racing, Kratagos from Drunken Turtle Racing, and Renee from Test Squadron. Glad to see them all able to make it back in.
Yeah, it looks like the vast majority of our races have made it through, but Sanji Sama, I was just about to say I saw that they were stationary. So Sanji Sama is our first DNF of the race. And it looks like there might have been another one.
Yeah, it looks like Kratagos was in that as well. Kratagos, of course, with our team here, Drunken Turtle Racing. So the Yodelorian's still out front, really pushing it.
Yeah, just so far ahead of everyone. Now you can also see Gerbo way off to the right. So still like quite a distance away from the Yodelorian, but possibly looking to go a different direction, possibly a safer direction across these hills. What I will have to say is we're a minute 40 in, and we've only had 2 DNFs. That's something. That is something, okay?
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah, one of those. Looks like Kadesh with the Novak Racing also now with a DNF coming in at 2 minutes there. That is unfortunate. Whittling the field down.
Hoping for the best for as many people to make it to at least the water as possible. I'd love to see at least and then there goes someone else. Do not notice who that was, unfortunately, but there goes another team. We'll get that in a second. So I was about to say, I really hope we see at least 6 teams make it to checkpoint 1.
Oh, we got an instant replay up here.
Yep. So jumps over the rocks and lands okay. Here we go. I reckon it's going to be right here after this jump.
There we go.
Nope. We're all good.
Up to this point.
Doing some turns. All right, cool. we just wanted to show you guys some expert racing there, just to show you guys how they do it.
And it really highlights the difficulty of this terrain, right? We've got trees, we've got rock features that are jutting out. So
we're once again following
3 on the DNF
now. Yeah, you can still see Yodelorian quite far out ahead. Assuming that this is second place that we're following, maybe. We can't see off to the right, though. But yeah, following Endermaster, who in our first attempt had gotten quite far.
And Delta Diatus, Check Leak 1, looks like they are up there. We'll see. Got some folks positioning is balancing around here, so we'll double check there. But yeah, Endermaster. And Venture Origins, the Yodelorian. there. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, made it to the water this time, though. They didn't quite make it to the water, or at least the very edge of the water this time. So there we go. So that was a camera ship that exploded earlier. There you go. No one's safe here.
One of the occupational hazards of working for Aopoa Esports.
Yep. So here we go. It looks like because of that, Endermaster may be our first racer to actually hit the water and begin the trek to the next island. And away they go. Watch the speed climb. There we go. We are off.
I love to see Pyro 5, that gas giant in the backdrop. Little hints of light. Great
very, very
scenic
cool
views here in the Pyro system. That's one thing they've done a fantastic job of. So commendations. There's Checked Leak coming in from Delta Diatus, just slightly behind. Endermaster from Catcom. These are a couple of teams that Liz Motorsports, Captain Chaos with a DNF there. We missed that one.
Yeah, there you go. So this is a rear shot, it looks like, of, I assume it is Checked Leak and Endermaster, what they're looking at right now.
Yeah. As they continue over this, just the water portion here, you see the water physics taking, kind of taking its effect. Beautiful, beautiful scenery.
So we're about 5.5 minutes into the race. We've still got 8 teams on the board. So we're certainly in a better position than we were in the original race. We'll see just how far some of our competitors get today. This is a 2-lap race.
Yeah, and this is Endermaster we're watching from Team Catcom. They are currently in 4th position on the overall leaderboards, 64 points. Trying to catch up with Punch Nomis, Amarok's Fang, and Delta Diatas, all of which are currently still in the running.
So yeah, obviously it's going to be a little less exciting while we are on the water. It is almost, honestly, like a little bit of a break for our races for the most part, as there's nothing really in terms of protecting. I'm hoping that's some D. No, okay, it's fine. It's fine. It wasn't desync. It was just very, very small vehicle. It looked like Endermaster was under the water there for a second. But yeah, there's not much you can do while you're on the water in terms of like trying to protect yourself. So most races are just going to absolutely start flooring it. And here we can see from the overhead view, Endermaster very, very far out in front, followed by Check Leak, and then you can see Ludox and Gerbo look like they are in our third and fourth position currently on the water.
Yeah, and that's Team Catcom, Delta Diatus, Blackhawks, and Punch Nomis, I believe. Decent positioning here. They're still in a bit of a tight formation, so we may see this spread out after the next piece of overland terrain. We are 7 minutes 20 seconds into this race, so these teams pushing for it hard.
Yeah, looks like we've got some type of competitive race here. Let's go. So now really excited to see what happens when we get to the next island, which should be pretty soon. Endermaster should be coming around to it. Should be able to see it maybe just barely on the horizon. It looks like you can. So yeah, this is going to get very, very scary once again once we get back onto the land.
Yeah. And right now they've got a pretty low vehicle floor, trying to maximize speed over this over water portion. They're going to need to transition that to avoid the terrain as they move on to the checkpoint 2 to checkpoint 3 land traversal. See that sliver just coming up on the horizon here.
Yeah, this is bound to get pretty exciting here in a second. So we're going to see if Checkley can get past Endermaster on this land section. And then, yeah, we're right behind Ludox right now. Right behind this camera should be Gerbo. So the top 4 are relatively close to each other. Very curious to know exactly where Amarok's Fang, Premier Core, Colonial Sire, and Test are at the moment. I assume everyone's on the water at this stage, sort of just based on the start. But with how the first attempt went, we may be seeing people go even slower to approach. Some people may be on the extreme safe side.
Adjusting their approach here, maybe not going quite as hard. We saw that with Yodelorian again, taking the early lead out front, but also suffering the early elimination there. So folks taking it a little bit slower this time around, trying to get the best positioning and understanding this is a risky track that's taking a lot of racers.
Yep, and I'm sure it's not done yet. So here you go as we get a little bit of a better far. So I can see Big Flex. So Big Flex just behind Gerbo the Gnome. Is that Neojet? Yep, Neojet that I see, as well as a Muir right on top of each other.
A Muir right on top of each other,
yep.
and then Renee,
and then Renee at the back. So they're not only are they all on the water, they're all actually very close to the end of the water. As right now, you can see at the top there, as it sort of compresses, we should be seeing Catcom, Delta Dietis, and Blackhawks pretty much right on top of each other, moving onto the land section.
Yeah, and that just goes to show they are really pushing that overwater section, but slowing things down, getting a little more conservative as we approach this terrain.
Yep, Chet Leak right on top of Endermaster. Yeah, here we go, right on top of each other. So that distance did in fact close after they came out of the water. We'll see if Chet Leak can make it into a full first place position.
Yeah, and Endermaster, Czech League vying for first place right now, but there is a lot of racetrack ahead. So yeah, and the separation here, between this pack right now, only about 5 or 6 kilometers. Of course, there is a turn in here, so stretching that out maybe to 8 to 10, but it's anybody's game, and you're definitely not maxing out your speeds as you get through this. Just look at that terrain. Yeah. These jagged rocks that are poking up. And you got to watch the elevation as well.
Yeah, it is just about as scary as it gets in a lot of these situations. So I want to remind everyone as well, Delta Dietis currently sitting at 3rd on the leaderboard, Catcom currently sitting at 4th on the leaderboard. Both teams have been fighting to get into the top 3 of the System 7 for a few years now. And now they've got their shot, right? The difference between them and 5th place is enough now that if they just get some solid positions on these last 2 races, they're going to, Delta will be able to stay there, and then Catcom may be able to push in. So it's going to be a big result for them, what they can get. But they have to remember that above them at 1st and 2nd place is Punch Nomies and Amarok's Fang. So if they're consistently, if they're consistent, then it's going to be a bit harder to push in.
Our 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 1 and 2 are up on the top. There we see Endermaster and Czech Leak, but Gerbo the Normal and Ludox off to the left, taking a little bit of a different route, maybe going a little bit more conservatively in order to survive this. We got Big Flex, Amur, Neojet. So the pack kind of separating as they rounded this corner between checkpoints 2 and 3.
Yep. And on the other side, you might have noticed there, you would have seen Neojet much closer to the inside of the island. I imagine a lot riskier, but it has pushed him up quite a bit. He was sitting behind with a Muir a little bit earlier, and now is making a bit of distance back. So this could be the thing that they need in order to get into those positions. And we're going to be hitting the water again pretty soon.
And we're looking at this a sideways view. It almost, I mean, the packs are about 4 kilometers separated. Gerbo the Gnome and Ludox over there. We got Endermaster on the close side. Czech Leak kind of in between, but Gerbo looks like he may actually be moving up ahead of Endermaster, at least from this angle.
Yeah, look, if there's any 2 races today that I expect to find some really cool, interesting sort of lines around these islands, it's Gerbo and Ludox. And in this situation, have certainly pushed themselves up into a spot where maybe once they get onto the water, they might be pushing second. So we'll see what happens here soon in a moment. You can see off in the distance, Little Equinox. I believe that is our checkpoint at the other island. So we should be hitting water pretty soon.
And here we see Gerbo the Gnome from behind, and nobody out in front of him. So just watching, trying to keep an eye on where the rest of the field's at. And as you mentioned, maybe having a little bit better research on this particular portion of the track, understanding which route to take, and aligning to those terrain features you might be familiar with.
Yeah, making sure to be really careful on that bay there. For reference, one of the rules of this this racetrack itself is once you hit an island, you have to stay on the island until you hit the next checkpoint, basically. So you can't cut across like these little bays and whatnot, as you can sort of see. Ludox and Czech leaked also at this section, and now, yeah, Gerber the Gnome, very, very far ahead of Ludox. We can see. I think Gerbo may actually just straight up be first place at the moment. So where is Endermaster right now?
Endermaster was in that mix there. Check leak.
There's Czech leak.
Yeah. Endermaster back.
There's
by the
Endermaster possibly stationary. Oh no, we're alive. We're alive. So just much, much slower. So Endermaster has actually fallen about 4 positions behind after like all of what's just happened here. So quite huge development there. Still tons of race to come back for it. But that lead that they've had pretty much since leaving the first island, now, yeah, not so much.
And the difficulty tracking here with Endermaster, of course. Now we see Ludox, Czech leak. Czech leak was ahead. Initially, it looks like they're just they're trading positions back and forth. These two racers really battling it out. Ludox from Blackhawk and Czech League from Delta Diatus. You know, teams 3 and 5 from the overall leaderboard at this point. See them both go up over that hill, landing a little softly. So that's really, you just got to hold on to your butts as you come down. Make sure you don't land on anything too rough. These, as you were mentioning, as we got the initial race started. These the Aopoa Nox doesn't really have any buffer zones. If you're colliding, there's no margin. Right?
Yeah, exactly. You've really got to try to make sure every time you're coming down, even just like the slightest hill, that you're coming down on a descent. You like on a downward slope. It's sort of the only way to guarantee that you'll survive in a lot of instances. Some of the explosions literally just come from the fact that you landed on an incline and you just barely touched the ground. Also, I did just notice an NPC name pop up in the in the thing there. So hopefully, like, I know our security doesn't often have to deal with NPC players, but I would recommend getting that NPC off the field.
Yeah, just occupational hazard. And here we see Gerbo the Gnome continuing over the terrain, really taking off out front. Trying to get through the rest of this terrain area into the water portion. Coming up towards checkpoint 3.
Yeah, here we go. So a little bit hard to see in the dark, but you can see Gerbo in the front there, Ludo. So there is a big difference between those first 5 teams in that big pack at the front and then Big Flex. Although Big Flex also getting past Endermaster now. It looks like
Endermaster must be having some type of vehicle difficulty. Neojet behind, Muir and Renee leading out behind that. So really vying for position out there. You know, Premier Court Colonial, they're 7th place right now. They're going to be a little disappointed in that. Hoping to push things a little further. Gerbo up on top. Ludox from Blackhawks. And we may see some real solidification of the top 3.
So yeah, about 2 kilometers difference between this little pack fighting for second place and Gerbo. I imagine that's going to stay like that until we get possibly to the second island, and then we see sort of where everyone's strategies come in. If anyone's got any other different routes that they've got planned for this.
Yeah, and these guys are just battling it out for that position here. Both seeing Gerbo the Gnome up ahead and doing their darndest to catch up, but trading positions back and forth. That's part of the race. Part of the event. So,
and then here we go. We can see some water right now. We're going to try to land as softly as we can, and then we're going to yeet it. Let's get out of here. Yeah, look at him go. Immediately take position and just go as fast as possible. It looks like our other player here is going to do the same. So we're going to be sitting pretty much right on top of each other here until we get to the next island. I imagine we'll see no changes in velocity here between these 2 races until we get there. But like we said, it's a bit of a change of pace, which is also very interesting. After you've been spending the last, what was it, maybe 7-8 minutes navigating that island, making sure you're just not dying to any random thing, then just being able to just floor it and sit for a second and figure out where everyone's at, that's quite nice.
Yeah, and the racers here that can change phase between that terrain avoidance and just really letting loose on this open flat water. It's
Mhm.
that's going to make a big difference. We saw looks like Ludox there that really zipped ahead as they transitioned into the water, having a lot more
Yep.
success with that, and getting a couple hundred meters improvement. We start to see that water, that
Mhm.
that mist picking up.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. So we're in a pretty good spot now. We're about to approach the 20-minute mark. Not too bad. We've still got 8 races on the board for race number 6, the second last race of the System 7 for this year. And it is heating up. All of these teams vying for the top 3 spots.
Yeah, and of course, next week we're back in Pyro, the Pyro 5 system, but moving over to Pharaoh with the Volcano Lake. So another
Yeah.
interesting, but going with the wheeled vehicles rather than the Gravlev. So
Yep, should be a good time. So if you're just tuning
great
in,
news
we
here.
have currently Punch Nomies in first place, Blackhawks in second, Delta Didus in third, Amarok in fourth, Catcom in fifth, Sire Racing Team in sixth, Premier Core Colonial seventh, and Test Squadron in eighth. But all of those numbers are big subject to change at the moment because there's been a lot of changes as we've been landing on these big, extremely dangerous terrain sections of these
Yeah.
islands.
And we see on the left side there, Gerbo the Gnome is that first group. We got Ludox and Check Leak there underneath that second group. Big Flex kind of taking ahead. Endermaster looks like he's caught up a little bit. He's on the water portion. And then Amur and Renee near the back. And I believe Neojet's in the mix there somewhere,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
behind. So
Yeah, it looks like Neojet just hit the water, maybe. And then, yeah, Mura and Renee just behind. Good point with Endermaster, though, yeah. So dropped a lot of positions, but has not dropped further, it seems, than 5th place. So
yeah, so
as looking to come back now and try to get ahead of Big Flex.
yeah, and that's we are currently looking at Big Flex, 4th position right now, representing Amarok's Fang. And yeah, Big Flex has some experience here. He was first in the Anti-Grav Racing League in 2024. So,
Mhm.
the Icarus division winning that, obviously wanting to rep that well here within the System 7.
Yep, definitely.
Great views as it's
So
a little dark out there.
yeah, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's why we're seeing more survivability. People are being just a little bit more careful because of the darkness. But I'm hoping it was the server change as well that helped us a little bit here. So here we are. We're back to the front with Gerber the Gnome solidly on this second island. After this, turning it right back towards the finish line. So if we get past this point, it's going to be fantastic. Going to make it a hell of a race, honestly. I'm really happy we've still got so many races on the field.
Yeah, and Gerbo the Gnome really just taking off here, showing some that domination from Team Punch Nomies, who's currently leading the overall leaderboards with 101 points. But Big Flex from Amarok's Fang, second team there. Delta Diatus, Check Leak. It's our third team, Catcom with Endermaster, Blackhawks with Ludox. Those top 5, we're still in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, all 5 of those teams need points, and they're all still here. So this leaderboard change up is going to be pretty big. I think it's going to make a hell of a difference. But we're still in the first half of the race. Remember, this is a 2-lap race that we're watching today. It's going to go for probably a bit over an hour, maybe an hour and 20 or so.
yeah,
and so
definitely
far,
with
the first
the
game has been good.
Definitely with the teams going maybe a little bit more conservative right now based on the experience from attempt number 1. We still have 8 racers in at this point, which has been great. Commentators curse. Go ahead and hit those.
Oh God, they all exploded right now.
But no, things have been seemingly a little bit more competitive this time as the remaining teams do their best.
Now, let's see what Gerber the Gnome can do. It looks like Czech League has made a little bit of distance back, as has Ludox. Ludox was about 600 meters behind Gerbo at the moment, and Czech League not too far behind that either. So I am liking what these islands are doing in terms of compressing our races together and making it a bit more competitive. You can see Checkleak going to make a move on Ludox here. Checkleak on the right side, Ludox on the left side, right on top of each other now. We'll see if we can get an overtake here in a second. A lot of distance was made just then.
Yeah, I'll just a couple 100 meters separation from these teams. You see the headlights, one or two ridges behind, and yeah, the verticality here. There's no height limit, but that does drive a lot of risk if you're launching yourself like we see, and maybe skipping one or two.
Now. Yeah, and that was really risky. Oh, that is huge. So Checkleak with that massive jump there puts them ahead of Ludox. Still in the fight, obviously. The two of them are right on top of each other. But it looks like they're going to maybe approach the water with Checkleak just barely ahead. We'll see. They're still neck and neck even after those fights.
Yeah, and Checkleak really hitting the rhythm. A couple of those ridge lines. You come down on the bare face of those, and kind of leaning into it, and that slows your momentum significantly. So as they transition into the water portion, we'll see who's able to make the switch and really unleash. We see Gerbo up ahead about 2 kilometers. Ludox and Checkleak both are just full send at this point.
Yeah, still right on top of each other, but it was great to see that fight there at the end. And I don't think my teeth can handle it. I was gritting my teeth every single time Checkleak took one of those big jumps and landed on an incline, like every single time. Absolutely freaking out, but they managed to survive, and they managed to get themselves in a pretty good spot. While they did not hit the water ahead of Ludox, they're practically right on top of each other. So, no, we have a DNF. Endermaster, who was in 5th place just moments ago, has had a DNF. I imagine that is a collision with the ground of some sort. Very unfortunate. That is our first team eliminated in about 15 minutes, and there is a second one.
Oh man, Neojet expiring as well.
Very, very unfortunate to see another 2 teams go before we hit the halfway mark of the race.
And those were about teams 5 and 6. Teams 5 and 6, probably on the overland portion. Leading us down, we've got 6 teams left. Punchnomies, Blackhawks, Delta Diatus, Amarox, Fang, Premier Corps, and Death Squadron.
Yep, now we're watching Gerbo once again. Gerbo's heading back towards the finish line to try to get over for the first lap. Now, because this is a lapped race, if you do get the fastest lap, you will get an extra point. So that is important to keep in mind, but I think it's definitely worth more points just finishing the race. So I think that's going to be more on the minds of our racers today.
And yeah, we are currently staring at the record holder for the fastest lap on the Snake Pit, race number 5. So Gerbo the Gnome, no stranger to these type of vehicles. So,
yep.
And that was Sire Racing and Catcom eliminated there. Quite unfortunate. Gerbo really just sending. We got about 45 kilometers as they go, and 224 meters per second top speed. You're probably hitting the needle on this one.
Yeah, I imagine so. Here we are. We're back with Amua from Premier Corps Colonial, still on the island that we've this second island. As our camera person is just going away. Goodbye, camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, cameras looking at each other. So there you go. You can see Big Flex there. Looks like Big Flex has got onto the water now. And yeah, Amua still on the island.
Yeah, and we see Renee there. Just looks a little bit behind Amur. Gerbo the Gnome. Those folks up in the top left cluster. So that's Gerbo, Checkleak, Ludox. Gerbo's been ahead, but Checkleak, Ludox definitely keeping it competitive. Big Flex bringing up the middle and seeming to be a pretty good position for 4th. Amur and Renee near the back battling it out for 5th and 6th place. We've got some points on the line here with this, right? First place, 25 points. Second place, 18. 15, 12, and 10 with 6th place, 8 points left to claim.
Yeah, so a fair chunk of change for where a lot of these teams are sitting. Those first 4 teams in particular, Punch Namies, Delta, Black Hawks, and Amarok's Fang. Premier Core Colonial and Test Squadron a little bit further down the leaderboard, but looking to pick up as many points as they can and hope for a good, solid top 8 finish before the end of the season.
Yeah. And Big Flex out in the middle, doing his thing. Big Flex representing Amarok's Fang, who was currently in 2nd place, but got to feel good about at least surviving here, securing a bit more points, keep it competitive as they move into race 7. It looks like Amur and Renee are probably just transitioning into the water portion between checkpoint 3 and 4.
And we can see the island off to the left side, which we'll be witnessing very, very soon. Here we go. We've got a nice look here once again at Ludox and Checkleak. As suspected, not much has changed between them as they've been on the water. But I would love to keep watching these guys as they approach the land here in a second and see if there's any immediate changes. I would not be surprised if Checkleak continues to go a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more scary, just to give me a heart attack, but also to attempt to get onto this next stage a little bit ahead.
Yeah, well, survival time here, of course, being one of the priorities. With 6 teams left, there's a big difference still in points left to be divvied out. I believe we're seeing Gerbil the Gnome up ahead as he transitions onto the terrain.
Yep, so that'll be Gerbo, and here we go. A little bit of a bounce there, a bit awkward onto the land. So we are now well and truly on the land. We're going to slow it right down, but Checkleak is going to try to make a move here on Ludox. Gerbo also right on top of them. Ludox going to make an attack on Gerbo, actually. Look, they are right next to each other at the moment.
Moving with some aggression, and really they are head-to-head there, just drifting off of each other at this point.
And there we go. They're going to stay roughly next to each other. We'll see where they land at the end of lap 1. Still another lap to go, but there is a world where we see Ludox actually get our first place position here beforehand. I mean, there's still like 4 kilometers until the checkpoint itself, so maybe even Checkleak is able to make a run for it.
And this is also to possibly lock in a fastest lap bonus if they're able to complete it. So, yeah, Ludox moving ahead.
There we go. Yeah,
overtaking Gerbo.
Yeah, massive attack here from Ludox, and Amarok's Fang need this if they can in fact get it, as they're going to come around for the first checkpoint here. We were here moments ago. Well, we were here about 40 minutes ago. Ludox is going to be the first one to cross the finish line for lap number 1, followed by Gerbo.
And now we saw them take a little bit of different routes as they got the initial start going. So we'll have to see how they manage this right now. Looks like Ludox went a little farther left and may have gotten a little off track. Gerbo moving ahead a little bit now.
Of a change. So yeah, Gerbo gets back ahead. Ludox still ahead of Checkleak, and all 3 of these races still pretty close to each other. So we're going to see probably that. I doubt that will be the last attack we will see from either of these races.
Yeah, no, this top 3 battle is something that's really going to define the shakeup here. We've got Punch Nomies, Delta Diatus, and Blackhawk. We're talking about teams 1, 3, and 5, right? Amarok's Fang with Big Flex is in the back. They're team number 2 on the overall leaderboards, but with a little bit of a space to catch up, they're going to need to be pretty aggressive with that. Premier Corps Colonial also looking like they're in good position with Amur and Renee right behind for Test Squadron. Premier in 11th place, Test Squadron in 8th place in the overall standings. We see Ludox off to the left, Gerbo close, Checkleak just behind. This trio at the front.
Yep. So yeah, Ludox made the attack. Well, not necessarily made the attack, just very, very far out to the side. I think we'll get a bit of a better understanding of where exactly they're positioned once we get to the water.
Looks like Gerbo taking it a little bit more conservative, going for survival as they do move. A couple of our camera operators as they cross paths. Couple of close hits. We did see one great camera operator explosion earlier, so if you got that on your bingo card, go ahead and fill that one in.
Would love to see an overhead just to see roughly where Amarok's Fang, Premier Corps, Colonial, and Test Squadron are at the moment. So there you go. You can see it looks like Big Flex is on the island and heading towards the lap. And you can see Amua and a bit hard with all the names overlapping each other. I definitely see Amua there on the water about to approach the land. I'm not sure who else I see.
Yeah, that's going to be Renee with Amur battling for 5th and 6th place. So
Yeah,
Premier Corps and Test Squadron.
Yeah, so they're right on top of each other too. So they're going to approach here, and they're going to have a little bit of a fight for it themselves as Big Flex makes it just roughly there. You can see as he goes into the giant pile of names as he makes it roughly just to the lapping.
And one thing we did not see, we didn't see anybody up to this point perform a vehicle swap, right? We got Gerbo, Checkleak, and Ludox. None of them really taking the opportunity. They're probably feeling pretty good about how their vehicles are handling. I wonder if we may see that, or if people are going to just say, to hell with it, full send.
Look, you got to respect the full send. But look at the three teams right now. Checkleak and Gerbo taking different jumps at the exact same time. Ludox is only just barely ahead of them. This really is a big fight for these three right now. Amarok's Fang not like while Amarok's Fang have crossed the lap marker, they are not particularly close to this group.
Yeah, they're pretty far behind. I think this is going to be the race between the top three, and it's going to be critical to see who's going to be able to get the rhythm during the terrain portion as they transition into right now under the overland or overwater portion. Ludox up ahead, Checkleak right behind, Gerbo as we see them really just let rip.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to me right now that Gerbo, our current leader, is in 3rd place. Meanwhile, Ludox from Team Blackhawks, who are currently in 5th place, I believe, on our overall leaderboard, they really need this win in order to push themselves back into the top 3. Meanwhile, Checkleak from Delta Dietis, one of our members that has always been just outside the top 3 of the leaderboards each year, currently in the top 3 and looking to stay there. So they also really, really want this finish.
Yeah, man, this 3-way shuffle at the top really going to define what race 7, how things going to look as these racers try and secure those final points. And what a view.
Yeah, it looks very, very cool. All right, so we have Renee here. So I also imagine we have Amua somewhere around here as they're approaching the lap marker as well. These are our last 2 teams to get across the line here. Still great to see 6 teams cross the finish line for the 2nd lap, and there we go. Both teams. So
difference.
Yeah, must be just off. There we go. I was about to say, must be just off camera. They're right on top of each other. So Renee and Amua are fighting for 5th place position. And once again, as we had the rules changes this year about the points, the top 5 matter a lot more than they used to be. It used to be kind of like top 3 or nothing. Now it's extended a little bit. It's kind of like top 5 and you're pretty happy with yourself. So it is a big, big difference for them to make there.
Yeah, and the distance separation right now between Renee and Amur, between those top 3 they're vying at the front, it's about 25 to 30 kilometers. So they've got some space to make up, and about 10 kilometers ahead of them is going to be Big Flex, right in the middle, kind of off on his own, representing Amarok's Fang. Now, Amarok's Fang, 2nd position right now, 91 points. If they're able to keep that, 4th position, it's still respectable points and can keep them competitive, but we've got positions 1, 3, and 5 battling out for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd on today's race.
Yep, exactly, and they should be finishing the water here pretty soon. Very, very happy with the server. The race is starting to go pretty good. Before we get there, Red, I do want to ask you for a prediction. Who do you think of these top 3 is going to finish either first or further, depending on how the rest of the race goes? Where's your money at right now?
We've seen the top 3 kind of shuffle around. Gerbo the Gnome lost a little bit of ground there, but I think because Gerbo's going a little bit more conservative over the terrain portion rather than the overwater. But I think that's some success. But also, Czech League's been able to find a really good rhythm, launching off of these ridge lines and just getting one or two of those really smooth rhythm sections could really set the difference. I think Czech League, he's going to luck out and get ahead as we move. So
I think that's pretty reasonable. I would love to see, maybe to create more drama for race number 7, I would love to see Blackhawks win this one and push themselves back into the top 3, which I believe they can. How many points are they at the moment?
they're currently at 53, so securing a third place finish or a first place finish.
First place, yeah.
Yeah, they'd end up over 75, but Delta Diatis is still in it. So
Okay.
whatever Czech
So
League is able to do.
So it actually might only push them ahead of Catcom if they win this, very interestingly. But it obviously puts them in a much better position to get in the top 3 next week. Which, yeah, that makes it all a lot more interesting. Like when there's more teams vying for those spots, it's a lot more fun. So,
yeah, and we are continuing along with Ludox here. It looks like he's in the lead. Team Blackhawks is really, they can push this. Catcom already eliminated with a DNF. Amarok's Fang that's in number 2 position. Big Flex is about 15 kilometers behind this lead trio. So we'll need to see how they manage as we get into this terrain section. Ludox is just about to transition into a couple kilometers out.
Yep, let's see what changes here. We've been watching. Okay, that's fine. We've been watching both Ludox and Czech League have been very, very aggressive coming onto the land. And what a shot here. Love this.
Wow.
That looks great as they all come onto the
Taking
land
an
with all the
early
cameras
hop.
too.
Yeah. Those headlights.
All
and
right,
just the elevation they're able to get as they move across here. So
yeah, so we're at the 40-minute mark. We are at the first island of lap number 2 for our top 3 competitors. Ludox. Oh, that is a stationary Ludox.
Gerbo passing ahead on the right. Oh, that is Blackhawks. Ludox eliminated, was in first position as we got over. Oh, Team Blackhawks.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate time for a DNF. They were well out in front of the lead for these 3 races here. Now, there's still like, depending on how the percentage of the race went around here, if they do still pick up some points, it's still going to be pretty solid for them. Might still give them a chance next week to get in the top 3, but it is going to make it significantly harder, obviously, especially seeing as we have both Delta Diasis and Punch Nomi still ahead of them.
And you see how close they were together. It looks like Ludox, just coming off of that hill, landed a little rough.
Yeah. Yeah, very unfortunate there. But we continue with Gerbo the Gnome taking back the lead, it seemed.
Yeah, Gerbo and Czech League right at the beginning here, leading up this pack, and both pretty still head to head. Gerbo got a little bit ahead, and with Ludox expiring there. Czech League a little risky on that. Had a little bit of a rock ahead of him.
So that's also great news for Amarok's Fang, with Big Flex now able to come in and finish an extra position ahead without having to try, right? Like there's a big difference between those 2 teams and Big Flex, where Big Flex is, but getting a 3rd place position here for Amarok's Fang is also pretty solid. The reason, by the way, that I always keep talking about watching, so I'm seeing all of the hype for Premier Core Colonial. It's great.
Yeah, definitely a crowd favorite there. We've got Delta Diatis, Punch Nomis, Amarok's Fang, Premier Core Colonial, and Test Squadron all in the running still. Our top 5. And of course, 6th place, Blackhawks, that currently has the fastest lap. So with a confirmation there. Ludox, of course, we saw expiring as we transition between checkpoints 2 and 3 over that land area. And the separation between these 2 at the front still very, very tight.
Yeah. All right, you can see the edge of the island here. Czech League can go with the number about to absolutely floor it in a second, as long as they do make it towards the water. And that'll be a good spot to be in, because you almost certainly that gets you past that 75% mark at that stage.
Yeah. And just finding this trough between the ridge lines here, maneuvering, kind of slaloming across them, limiting the amount of time you spend elevated, maximizing your speed on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
See both racers maneuvering very deftly through that area.
Yep,
And
Gerbo's going to be the
Gerbo,
first one on the water as we expected, but Czech League still keeping Gerbo on their toes. This little group that we've had at the front here, pretty much ever since the first checkpoint, has been on top of each other. Obviously, we did lose Blackhawks a little bit earlier from this group, but it is still strong, and they are still right on top of each other, having a big fight. I am loving it. So we have one more island for this group to go on to, and then it's all the way to the finish line. So not much left for our first two competitors here.
yeah, and just ripping up to checkpoint 4 on this section, and you can see Gerbo just taking the lead and holding it as best you can. I don't think there's any chance for a overtake as long as you maintain this top speed. They're doing well, but like you said, we've got one more island transition that we've seen Gerbo play a little bit more conservatively.
Yep. And speaking of
And
island
there's
transitions, it looks like we've got Amua and Renee now on the island, as far as we can tell through the through the clouds. But yeah, that appears to be the case because I can see our checkpoint is about 30 kilometers away, and there you go. You can see Big Flex about 10 kilometers away. So all of our racers have now made it to that first island in lap number 2.
yeah, and they've got to be really happy with the placements right now. Premier Corps Colonial Test Squadron coming in from kind of the second half of the pack. Really, Test Squadron at 8th position, Premier Corps Colonial at 11th. They're definitely moving up onto the left side today based on current placements. But the real battle, Czech League and Gerbo, Delta Diatus and Punch Nomis. Punch Nomis is looking pretty solid right now as far as their overall positioning. But Amrock's Fang still knocking on the door. 3rd place right now for Big Flex. A little bit behind. I don't know if they're going to be able to make that up with the time available, but still a respectable 3rd position, getting some points and bringing it very competitive in that top 5 or so as we move into race 7, which is happening next week, by the way. That's May 31st.
Yes.
Race 7 here in Pyro again. That's Volcano Lake Track in Faro.
Yep, it's going to be a very interesting change of pace for our finale, as typically we would run a 4-vehicle relay. This time we're going to do a 2-vehicle relay and make it a little bit easier on us, as well as get away from these damn explodey bikes. Get them out of here. No more. Well, I'm now saying no more explosions on race 7, and now we're going to have like 20 explosions somehow. But it's a little bit safer, a little bit more endurance-y. But it's going to have some interesting implications. As here we go, we've got Gerbo and Czech League heading on to the second island.
And just getting some reporting from the camera operators and the production crew behind here. Gerbo is maxing this thing out at 224 meters per second, and enough that the camera operators trying to follow them keep blacking out from G-forces. So really putting the juice on. See, they transition onto this this 3rd island between checkpoints 4 and 5. And wow, just the elevation they're able to get, and they are just head to head.
We get a little bit of a transition there, so I think that was just then Czech League pushing ahead. But Gerbo absolutely launching off some of these jumps. So still right on top of each other. But, as we've seen with these water sections, if you can just end up ahead just a little bit, you're going to be, ahead for the majority of the next part of the race. Czech League was very, very aggressive in the first lap around this section. If you remember, we were seeing them jump over Ludox over and over and over again. I wonder if they've got some maybe special tech. Maybe they've got some special routes or something. Not sure. But it seems to be working for them here too, as Gerbo falls even further behind Czech League now. Looks like, I would say from this distance, looks like it's maybe like a 600, 700 meter difference between the two of them in terms of the actual direction. Maybe even a kilometer at this point, but Gerbo going a little bit wider.
Yeah, Check Lee coming closer to our camera operators here, a little bit to the right. Gerbo going a little bit left. Maybe there's some terrain that Gerbo knows about, or just finding some balance. They do look like they're head to head as far as forward movement, but we need to keep an eye on it. And yeah, this is the intensity required to succeed in the System 7 races here. We're seeing it on full display with Gerbo the Gnome and Check Lee absolutely head to head for the majority of this race. And duking it out. Ludox, of course, in that from Blackhawks, eliminated, unfortunately, due to terrain issues. But Check Lee, Gerbo trading places now. Gerbo coming on the close side, Check Lee going on the far side.
All right. Now, we've got a good fight here, but I'd really love to see what's going on with the rest of our races on the field at the moment, see exactly where Big Flex is. I imagine they've made it onto the water at this stage, if not very close. And then we also have our other two teams. So this is watching Gerbo and Checked Leak. You can see Checked Leak just about to hit the water now too, actually. So these two teams are going to get very, very soon. But yeah, if we just if we could even get our camera just to have a look over, just a glance over, it doesn't even have to be a zoom out. Just
the separation.
There we go. There we go.
Here.
So, so I see Big Flex
and Renee.
Yep.
One island behind. They have not hit the transition into checkpoint 3 yet. So, Big Flex still working over the terrain. Amur and Renee holding those positions, but Big Flex losing some position. He was 15 kilometers ahead, and seems to have lost some of that.
Yeah, obviously, once again, you do get condensed when you're on the island, but even with that in mind, Amur looks like and Renee look like they've made a ton of distance up in that last little section. So we could see, because this is also a race that really, really matters, guys. Amarok's Fang, currently our second place position. They need these points. They need as many points as they can to still have a shot at first place next week. And if they lose another position here, I don't know if it's going to be as easy.
Yeah, now this is Check Leak and Gerbo the Gnome. Now they're, I'm not sure what the exact positioning was when they crossed over the finish line. If Check Leak from Delta Diatis crosses first, is there still a possibility that Gerbo from Punch Nomies could still get a fastest lap time here? That's something to keep an eye out for. And you guys, they are just getting maxed out as far as this speed.
Yep.
We'll see if there's any advantage.
Just about as far as it'll let you push it. Get your legs out there. Start paddling. That's the only way you're going to get some more speed here.
And make sure you've got your extra slick undersuit and best racing gear, because you want to go fast here. Once again, the water physics here, a little bit of displacement, and the mist kicking up behind these vehicles. You can almost feel it, man.
Yep. If you guys are just tuning in, we are almost at the end of race number 6. We're currently watching Delta Diatis and Punch Nomies fight for first place position, and look how close they are to each other in terms of distance. When they get onto this island, there is not much land for them to go through until they actually get to the finish line. So once we get there, it's going to be a pretty big deal. We have Amarok's Fang, Premier Core Colonial, and Test Squadron also still on the field, quite a bit further away than these two races are, but still fighting for some good positions.
Just look at the separation here. We're like 50 kilometers off from the island, but they're only about 500 meters apart, 400 or so, and it's closing. It's going to be very tight. That is such a slim margin here. Positions 1 and 2. If you make one mistake, one bad position here, and send yourself a little bit off angle, you could lose that lead immediately. And it's anybody's game between Check Leak and Gerbo the Gnome as they try and come into this finish line. Just about 60 kilometers ahead.
Yep. All right. Not too much longer now. We're at the 56-minute mark. Should be about maybe an hour and 2 minutes that these races cross the finish line, as long as they've been maintaining the same sort of speeds they had in lap number 1, which it certainly has felt like these two races have. Maybe not the rest of our races. They slowed down quite a bit. We saw Amarok's Fang drop down a lot during the first island section. Ooh, it's getting close.
And they are just ripping. We saw, our chase vehicles coming up at 280 meters per second with their maneuvering and stuff. These folks have absolutely got it. The gas pedal is pegged to the floor. All right, Gerbo and Check Leak still maintaining about 400, maybe the less separation right now, left versus right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, was
Still
able to
can't quite
maintain
see
that
the island in
momentum.
the distance there, so we've still got a little bit longer on the water section. Both races will be essentially at the exact same speed right now, so it's just a case of them getting to the island. You can see up there we've got Big Flex moving on to the second island.
With Amur coming in just behind, and I think that's Renee, just out of the party marker visibility, but
Yep.
got an arrow pointing there. Big Flex hitting checkpoint 4 in just a couple of seconds here. Gerbo the Gnome and Check Leak up ahead, and really just the separation these two have been able to maintain. And yeah, there we see Renee confirmed. All racers putting in great work, great time so far, but Check Leak and Gerbo duking this out. 400-meter separation. This last little bit as they get onto the island for that finish line,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna have to have their line down perfect. I think it's gonna be a photo finish.
I have to imagine Czech League is going to play this aggressively. They've played it aggressively pretty much the entire race so far. They're going to snag a bunch of points regardless of where they sit at this stage. So I think they're going to go for it. They're going to go for the first place, go really hard. I think Punch Nomies and Gerbo, they don't have to go as hard. They're pretty comfortably in first place at the moment with 101 points. So if they pick up 18 points, they're pretty happy with that, right? Put themselves towards 119, possibly. It likely wouldn't be a best lap time, but 119 points will be very, very hard for to beat next week. 126 points would be even harder to beat, but
and the spread between first and second place here is just 7 points. You know, Delta Diotis wants to push it as much as they can. Punch Nomies can lose that and still be in good position going into race 7, but you got to believe that that either one of these folks is hoping for an unforced error here as they're about to transition onto the terrain. See, maybe taking a little bit of different paths as they make this move.
Yeah, so we're going to approach the island from more or less two different sides, and that's going to be Gerbo's chance right now to get a little bit of ahead. So Gerbo takes a little bit more of the bay section, is currently ahead, but not by much. And here we go. Is Czech League going to be as aggressive as I mentioned? I'm hoping so, because I want to see a really big fight here as Gerbo takes the lead on the transition to land.
Gerbo getting a couple extra 100 meters there on the water at max speed and transitioning to a nice little area. Check Leak coming in a little further left and hitting that terrain. We see them start to get some separation. Gerbo's a ridge ahead, and this is a nail biter here. You got to just imagine what's going through these racers' heads as you're 4 kilometers from the finish line. The final minutes here in the what could really define first place going into race number 7. So.
Definitely seems that way. And with essentially only one jump left, I think that's going to do it, barring an absolute disaster. Speaking of disasters, Test Squadron, DNF with Renee. But Gerbo the Gnome is going to be the winner of race number 6 and our current fastest lap, 29 minutes, 44 seconds, followed very soon after by Czech Leak.
You got to believe.
With a 3-second slower lap.
3 seconds behind with as much as we've gone through today. And of course, the toggle of the headlights showing respect back and forth. True sportsmanship from these two who spent the entirety of today's race back and forth. You got to believe there'd be hugs exchanged at this point. So now we got a couple of minutes left. Renee, you saw, was in 5th place, but had a DNF during that transition. We're still waiting for Big Flex and Amur. Now, Big Flex had some space. He was, he had maintained early, but stuck behind really. And Amur was able to make up some of that distance. We're seeing Amur here, who's currently in 4th place. Of course, Test Squadron Renee securing 5th. They've got to be happy with that. That's at least enough.
I think actually Amur might be in 3rd place, as you see Big Flex off to the side there on the left. So yeah, Amur did make it back in that distance. Amur and Big Flex right on top of each other. Huge. So they're just about to hit the water. I think this is the water to head towards the second island, actually, because they were quite a bit far behind each other earlier. So still quite a bit of race for these races to go.
I think they were past checkpoint 4. This is checkpoint 5. They may be moving across. We see about 80 kilometers ahead. That's going to be our finish line right as they transition into the water. So I think this is heading from checkpoint 5 in towards the finish at the 82 kilometers.
You might be right. You might be right there, because it looks like that's certainly the direction we are heading in. So we might be seeing a similar situation to what we just saw with Gerbo and Czechlik, where the fight really did come down to the transition in the final section.
And this is a 15-point versus 12-point, just a 3-point spread. But Amarok's Fang and Premier Core Colonial, both Amarok's Fang at number 2. So 10 to 12 points, or 12 to 15 points, still respectable, maybe enough to keep them up in the top 3. But Premier Core Colonial, that's going to be great. It's going to put them ahead of Venture Origins, Kuroda Racing. They'll be right outside of the top 5, maybe, depending on how the rest of the points shake up, and competitive for top 3 as we go into the 7th race. So the numbers are really what you're pushing for right now. Every additional point counts, and we do see Punch Nomies is secured with that additional bonus point for the fastest lap with Gerbo the Gnome. So
yeah, now I'm going to do some quick maths. So with getting first place and presumably the fastest lap, as these two races in this lap number 2 have been keeping it a little bit more relaxed to make sure they can finish it, we should see Punch Nomies get the fastest lap here, which means they're going to get 26 points, pushing them to 127. Delta Dietis getting second place and 18 points. That will put them to 91 points. That'll put them to 91 points, which is currently what Amarok's Fang have. So Amarok's Fang, they're going to still remain in second place here, but they want to be as far ahead as they possibly can be, right? It looks like in race number 7, that's where the big fight is going to be once again, is going to be between Amarok's Fang and Delta Dietis. But if Amarok's Fang can get third place, that'll put them at 100 and math is so hard. 106? 106.
Yeah. This is going to be...
If they're at 106, they need a first place to beat Punch Nomies, and Punch Nomies would have to not like top 5.
Yeah. 0. Yeah. That's asking a lot based on what we've seen out of Team Punch Nomies this year.
It is, yeah. It is. And Delta Dietis, I think, are also looking at, pretty much regardless of where Amarok's Fang sit here, in order for Delta Dietis to get second this year, they're also going to need a top 3 finish, and they're going to need Amarok's Fang to not top 3 finish next week. So there's going to be a big fight here for second place that we can expect. And then, of course, we've still got the Catcom and Blackhawks fight that we've been having at 4th and 5th. But Premier Core Colonial just smashing it up the leaderboard here, right? So if they end up with 15 or 12, they're going to be either at 30 or 27 after this is all said and done, which puts them into 6th place as far as we can tell. So a massive race for all 4 of these races.
Yeah, and the top 3 is going to be really defining next week. Obviously, there's some numbers, some situations between Team Punch Nomies now that are showing some dominant performance, that only 1 or 2 teams can really get there, and they need Punch Nomies to fail out and their own teams to really take it home. So it's going to be a tough one, but we'll have to see once the numbers are all condensed here. Who's got a mathematical shot still at getting into the top 3. But Punch Nomies is commanding lead with today's finish for top position at the end.
Yeah, I think they've got to be very, very happy. Barring some crazy issues in race number 7, they should lock in the win for the season, and they've certainly guaranteed the top 3 for the season. So we will be seeing them once again next year, unsurprisingly. this team. They're just someone's got to stop these guys. I think is it okay if we split the team up like in the fairness of competition? Is that a thing we can do?
I don't know, but I really like seeing these folks together. I feel like they've each really highlighted each other's strengths between the Gravlev and the ground vehicles, and know know where they can have one versus the other. That may losing our camera operator there, maybe skidding sideways. This is what happens when you get down to the last one or two vehicles out on the track. Every one of these camera operators trying to find the best view possible. And I believe this is Amur ahead, making the transition for the final here.
It is indeed, and it's not going to be very long. It's only about 10 kilometers or so, not even from here to the finish line. There, about 8 kilometers from here to the finish line with the Amur ahead. Hell yeah, let's go. Let's see. Let's get some big hype in all of the chats, everywhere you might be watching at home, or even if you're in the Discord call with these guys. Been a hell of a race.
I'm sure it has just been crazy throughout the entire day today. Of course, Premier Corps Colonial looking for one of their better finishes for this series.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you just notice there? I don't know if you saw that. Big Flex way out wide on the left there. So, yeah, Big Flex, I think, may be ahead by quite a distance.
Yeah, we'll have to see and make sure there is not a checkpoint as they come across the water here.
There we go. Yeah, Big Flex right on the finishing line. So there you go. That's going to mean Amarok's Fang are going to lock this one in for third place. Well done, Amarok's Fang. And then here is Amur. So Big Flex obviously had some sort of route off to the left there that allowed them to go a little bit faster. They were able to push that distance that they had lost originally on the water, just before the water. But still going to be a huge result here for Premier Corps Colonial. Their first really, really good finish of the season, and hopefully not their last. Well done to our competitors. Your winner for today, Team Punch Nomies, second place Delta Dietus, third place Amarok's Fang, and fourth place Premier Corps Colonial. Now, Red, do you remember how many races I said would finish the race originally?
You called it, Croncy. It was 4, and we met it. So, congratulations. I owe you a beer.
Look, I know my Gravlev. So well done, guys. Now, of course, we have to watch this. This was the most monumental part of the replay. That is our cameras colliding into each other. Everyone trying to get the best. We didn't see that one. That was really cool. But yeah, there we go. We got a couple of fancy collisions there for you guys.
Spaceships, not submarines. So that was quite the collision at the end there. And oh man, we love to we love to see it with the camera crew. So congratulations to Punch Nomies, Delta Dietus, Premier Corps Colonial, and Amarok's Fang, Girl by the Gnome, Check Leak, Big Flex, and Amur. Our racers finishing off today, as well as those getting through the remainder of the track here. So.
Yeah, it was an absolutely fantastic race. Really glad that we were able to get that second race through working, at least for the most part. Now, we're going to get the leaderboard ready for you guys. As always, just a little thing, like if there's anything that needs to be changed, anything that needs to be reviewed after the course of the race, that'll all happen, and the leaderboard will appear on all of our socials and on the Discord as the official one. So have a look out for that one, but we'll get this one up ready for you in a moment. But next week's looking very interesting. Next week's looking really interesting. Like I said, Punch Nomies way out ahead. They should be on 127 points as far as we're
securing first place and the fastest lap. So those will all be pending confirmation, but we'll be looking very solid there.
Yep. It should also almost all but guarantee them first place of the season. Like I said, pretty much the only way they won't get first place this season is if they do unbelievably terribly next week, and specifically Amarok's Fang win the whole thing, right? That's pretty much the only way that they would be able to lose there. And I even think with that in mind, I think Amarok's Fang could tie them. Yeah. Wait, now I really want to know where the leaderboard's at. If everything goes terribly, there's a world where we see a tie, I think. So that'd be interesting. Let's hope we don't live in that world and we don't have to do a tiebreaker. But
getting a rare look at our security complement keeping the racers safe today. Yep. We got the Idris up there.
Hey, they didn't even need to steal this one. They didn't even need to steal this one. Love it. So we're talking about next week's race. Let's look at the next week's race once again. So this is Volcano Lake. This is the finale. So make sure you are here to cheer on your favorite team. Get your teams those last points they need in order to prove that they were worthy of the System 7. We're going to be doing Volcano Lake. This is a relay race with the RSI Lynx and the Tumbril Cyclone. And we've got a weird little thing there in the top left. What is that, Red?
That's right. That is the Polaris Bridge. This is a race that's mixed with fast banks and scattered terrain, with small lakes and just little limbs that are able to cross. But there is one section out there right at the top left we see here that is impassable normally. But you can park a Polaris there with the ramps down and bridge that gap. Mm-hmm. They are going to be using that Polaris Bridge for their transition point between checkpoints 1 and 2, about 2/3 of the way through the track. So it's going to be a really interesting process here. The vehicles they're racing, it's the RSI Lynx, the Tumbril Cyclone, 36 meters per second and 37 meters per second. Overall, expecting it to take about an hour and a half to complete the full circuit here. But as we saw today, a lot of these vehicles, a lot of these racers were right on top of each other. We saw a great battle for the top 3 that narrowed itself down to the top 2 with a photo finish at the end. And you know, we expect to maybe see that be part of the traffic jam happening at this Polaris Bridge. That's going to be something the racers have to contend with.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, a lot less explosions than we saw today, and hopefully a lot of really, really good developments. Like we said, the leaderboard itself has gotten really interesting. We've got a big fight here for 2nd and 3rd place, and we've got a couple of teams just below them looking to upend that all and jump themselves into 3rd place. There's a lot of cool situations that are going to happen in this final race here.
Yeah, and of course taking place at Faro and the Pyro 5 mini system. And again, great look at our Idris security crew.
And I'll tell you what, just before we get into the leaderboard as well, you know what, we've been on broadcast today for about 5 hours. So just before we get to the leaderboard, Red, I've been sitting on my ass all day on an absolutely fantastic chair by a great company called Monster Tech. Do you want to talk a little bit about them?
Oh, absolutely. Monster Tech provides high-end sim rigs and mounting solutions built for elite level immersion and performance. If you care about your ergonomics, you want to get Monster Tech. Joystick mounts, desk mounts. They've even got RSI partnered chairs. You can get, what is it, the RSI Tempest, the Mirai, I forget the name of that one, and then the Anvil. My personal pick is the RSI Tempest. I've got an Orion, I've got a Galaxy, I've got an Arastra. I've got a, you know, it was a very close second pick for the Anvil, but my Orion really will be the one that defines what I'm sitting on.
Damn right. All right, let's have a look at the leaderboard. Remember, this is tentative. We will get the proper official numbers and everything. We'll get it all settled and confirmed, and we'll be posting those up. But here's what we are looking at. Your current leaderboard after today's race, Team Punch Nomies ahead with 126 points. Way out ahead. Second place, Amarok's Fang with 106. Delta Dietus with 91. Catcom with 65. And Blackhawks with 54.
Yeah, and what a shakeup here. Punch Nomies securing it with 126. Now, what we saw, some shakeup there. Premier Corps Colonial moving up to 10th place right now with some additional work there. Getting the 4th place today, so working on that. Now, Test Squadron still at 8th with those 19 points. Are we? So, yeah, Punch Nomies up at that top position. Catcom at number 4 with 65, Blackhawks at 54, Venture Origins at 22, and Kuroda at 21. So, and we'll see where these racers end up based on final verification, where they end up getting set up for those finishes. racers who didn't quite make it across the finish line. So,
yeah, exactly. All right, guys, like we said, we will be posting all of the official leaderboard numbers on all of our socials, so make sure you check those out. But that is going to be it for us, and that is going to be it for race number 6. We're going to be back in a week's time for race number 7, guys. It's going to be a good, fun time. It is the finale. There's no more left after this. We're all done until next year.
yeah. And of course, these numbers, pending final analysis, the racers who did not finish got 1 point in there right now. But as we go through and complete that, they will be assigned positioning based on that 75% and then their overall elimination times. So some placement opportunities there. And yeah, of course, we'll see some shake up there. I do see a couple of teams that are hoping for a little bit better positioning once those numbers are tallied up.
Yep. And with that, as we have this fantastic view of where we've been for the last 5 hours, myself and Red and the team at Atmo are going to head on off, guys. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you very much to the racers for participating today and for going through everything we had to go through. Thank you very much to the staff. Thank you very much, Red, for joining me, as always, in the System 7. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Croncy, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here, commentate one of the most exciting races we've seen so far. And I am absolutely sure in 7 days, race number 7, the Volcano Lake is going to be a real nail biter for these teams. So,
yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you all next week. Have a good one.